Fate Stay Night, Fate.
Okay, we're doing this in
Hell
English.
tá nua.
Are we? We might as well, right? For the sake of the English-speaking people. So
that's one Japanese dude. English.
That one Japanese dude, yes, which watches our channel.
We shall speak Gringlish.
Turns out we actually did get a new subscriber, like an actual subscriber.
Okay. Yo, we have a new subscriber.
Which came after our 4-hour-long video. That's fucking hilarious.
Congrats, that dude needs congratulations.
But yes, we are going back to this. So last time we did a lot, but we ended up after Shirou accidentally summoned Saber, and she got cut by Gay Bolga, but didn't die.
Where's the cut?
Then she got cut in the chest by Gay Bolga, didn't die, started healing immediately, but and now Lancer has run away. Lancer has run away, and she was about to go after him when Shirou went out of the shed and started questioning her about her health and who she is and what's going on. So if you guys have any questions, you should ask them now, and then if not, we can just move on ahead.
Nothing.
All right.
Nothing.
Nothing. Go ahead.
Can you guys hear everything all right? I tried to bump up the volume of the music and the voices because they were a little low last time. I just want to make sure that we're not having any sort of audio problems again because Jesus fucking Christ, I can't take this anymore. She replies without hesitation. Her tone is polite yet gentle, and just hearing it makes my head go blank. Hey, what am I getting excited about? I don't fucking know. You almost died 5 minutes ago.
That's a strange name.
I hide my burning face with my hand and reply really stupidly. I don't know what else to say. I wouldn't know of any such thing to say. Since I asked her name, isn't it natural for her to introduce herself? In any case, it would be impolite to stay silent like this. What am I doing? Are my answers getting stupider? But she told me her name, so I should answer too. I know I'm confused right now, but I have to be polite no matter who this is. The girl's Saber just stares at me without changing her expression. Wait, I'm just doing an adjustment.
しかし、それでもあなたは私のマスターです。契約を交わした以上、あなたを裏切りはしない。
Crap. I can hear her words, but they make no sense to me. All I know is that she's calling me with a ridiculous word like master.
それは違う。俺マスターなんて名前じゃないぞ。それでは素人。ええ、私としてはこの発音の方が好ましい。
As soon as she says my name, I think my face lit up on fire. Shouldn't you call someone by their last name on a first meeting?
ちょっと待て。なんだってそっちの方。
Pain suddenly runs through my left hand. Big brain Shirou. The back of my hand is burning. My hand feels like it's in a fire, and on it is a strange mark that looks like a tattoo.
それは霊樹と呼ばれるものです、シロ。私たちサーバントを律する3つの命令権であり、マスターとしての命でもある。むやみな使用は避けるように。お前。
Before I can finish with "Are you?", the air around her changes.
シロ、傷の治療を。
She speaks in a cold voice. It seems her attention is on something far away behind the wall and not on me.
待て、まさか俺に言ってるのか。悪いけど、そんな難しい魔術は知らないし、それにもう治ってるじゃないか、それ。
Saber frowns a bit. I think I said something really wrong there.
ではこのままで臨みます。自動修復は外面を覆っただけですが、あと一度の戦闘ならば支障はないでしょう。
あと一度って何を？
外の敵は2人。この程度の重圧なら数秒で倒し得る相手です。
Saying so, Saber jumps lightly. Just like Lancer, she leaps over the wall and disappears outside. I'm left alone in the yard.
外に敵？
As soon as I say it aloud, I realize what it means.
ちょっと待て、まだ戦うっていうのか、お前。
My body starts to move. Without thinking, I run to the gate with full force. I run to the gate, unlock it with trembling hands, and jump outside.
サイバー、どこだ？
I search through the dark. The moon is hidden now of all times and is completely dark. But I hear something nearby.
そこか。
I run to the small road with no sign of anyone on it. It all happens in an instant. Saber is confronting a familiar guy in red. Saber runs at the man in red without hesitation, takes his guard down with one blow, and I will not skip the scene. Easily slashes the man in red. Saber raises her arm to finish him off, but right before the man in red's neck is slashed, he disappears as a powerful magic is cast. Saber doesn't stop. She dashes to the person behind the man in red and easily cuts off the large spell the person launches. I knew she was strong, but this is overwhelming. That spell right now was at the level of an intervention magic that I cannot even compare with. Father could use one as strong as that, but to cast a natural intervention of that power instantly, I don't think even a first-class magus could do so. Of course, that's the power of the command spell. But Saber nullified even that master-class magic. No. That's wrong. That's her jewels that she tried to use. The enemy must be a magus, as the match is decided right there. The magus's attacks are no use against Saber, and she mercilessly attacks the magus. A sound of someone falling backwards. The magus has miraculously dodged Saber's blow, but the enemy now cannot move. Saber corners the enemy and points her invisible sword. My mind freezes, probably because the moon lights up the scene for an instant. I can tell that the figure Saber is pointing at is human. I can't tell who it is, but the image of Saber killing someone and getting splattered with blood pops into my head. Saber moves. She will pierce the enemy's throat with the thing in her hand. I scream as loud as I can. Her sword stops. Thank God I can't see her sword. The end of her invisible sword isn't wet with the enemy's blood. And now we know what happened to Dean.
Okay,
Yep.
she's not that.
I address her, glaring, preparing myself to do my best to stop her. Of course, Shirou would be able to stop Saber from killing someone. With his body.
なぜ止めるのです、シロ。彼女はアーチャーのマスターです。ここで仕留めておかなければ。
No, Saber has no intention of stopping. She only stopped because I said so, and she's ready to bring her sword down at any time.
だから待てって。人のことをマスターだとか言ってるけど、こっちは点でわからないんだ。俺をそんな風に呼ぶんなら、少しは説明するのが筋ってもんだろう。
I love Saber's facial expression. Saber doesn't answer.
So do I.
She only stares at me in silence.
順番が違うだろう、セイバー。俺はまだお前が何なのか知らない。けど話してくれるなら聞くから。
Saber's silent. Still pointing her sword at the falling enemy, she looks at me discontentedly.
そんなこととはどのようなことか。あなたはむやみに人を傷つけるな、などという理想論を挙げるのですか。
Not hurting anyone unnecessarily. Well, it is true that we should avoid fights as much as possible, but I'm not so good natured as to release someone who came to attack me.
つまりあなたは敵であれ命を絶つなと言いたいのでしょう。そのような言葉には従いません。敵は倒すものです。それでもやめろというのであれば、 0時をもって私を律しなさい。
いや、そんなことっていうのはお前のことだ。
There we go.
女の子が剣なんて振り回すもんじゃない。
Stupid Shirou rears his ugly head. Finally.
で、そっか。本当に剣を持ってるかどうかはわからないんだっけ。あ、いや、とにかくそういうのはダメだ。
This is why I asked Mapo Tofu if he thought that Shirou reached his peak in fate.
Okay.
You gotta love misogynistic Shirou.
You are dead, man.
Saber looks dumbfounded as if taken aback. I mean, she's right.
Yeah.
How long were we standing like that?
ね、いつになったら剣を下げてくれるのかしらね。
I love how Irina's just like, yeah, you know,
Really
I'm
was
still
like,
here.
okay, I'm about to die, but okay.
The figure on the ground suddenly speaks. Saber suddenly concentrates her attention on her sword.
諦めなさい。敵を前にして下げる剣はありません。あなたのマスターは下げろって言ってるのに？セイバーとマローサーバントが主に逆らうって言うんだ。
The master of 4D chess.
Mastermind.
Saber grits her teeth. Fuck you. But Saber lowers her sword and relaxes. Saber's hostility disappears, so she must have put away her sword as well.
Wait, that's just a lightsaber.
The one on the ground stands up. She looks shameless, brushing her rear. Hey, wait a second. That sulky person is definitely what?
The best girl in the game? Nope.
Just immediately does not give a fuck that she was almost dead. XXIII replies with a big smile. That gets me.
Boy.
If she greets me normally like that, everything that happened up to now seems like a dream, and no, my head's about to explode. Jeez, how easy would things be if it did?
あ、いや、だからさっきの魔術は遠坂が使ったってことだから、つまり
魔術師ってことでしょ。ま、お互い似たようなもんだし、隠す必要もないわよね。
When she replies clearly like that, it makes me seem stupid for asking.
いいから話は中でしましょう。どうせ何も分かってないんでしょ、エミヤ君は。
So saying, she walks towards the entrance.
待て、遠坂、何考えてんだお前。
And then she turns, and the smile on her face isn't like the previous one.
バカね、いろいろ考えてるわよ。だから話をしようって言ってるんじゃない。エミヤ君、突然の事態に驚くのもいいけど、素直に認めないと命取りって時もあるのよ。ちなみに今がその時だと分かって。
She glares at me.
分かればよろしい。それじゃあ行こっか、エミヤ君のお家にね。
Tosaka goes through the gate.
なんかすげえ怒ってるぞ、あいつ。
It's only natural. I mean, yeah, she had a sword pointed at her until now, and she was almost killed.
いや、それにしたって。
Is it just my imagination, or is she totally unlike how she seems at school? So I'm in a strange situation. In front of me is the school's #1 idol whom I admire, XXIII. And following silently behind me is Saber, who calls herself a servant. Oh. The hallway suddenly feels like a different dimension. But I can't be a coward forever. I'm a magus, even if I'm just an amateur. XXIII, a magus just like me, is acting so fearlessly, so I have to act firmly too. But I can only work out a few things. First, about Saber, who's following me. I am sure that she's some kind of familiar because she calls me master and I've made a contract with her. I hear that a familiar is some kind of an assistant for a magus. Most magi transfer part of their body into something and summon it as another self. For the other self, a magus usually uses a small animal. That's simply because it's easier to take over the mind of something like a cat or a dog. Some magi use a human as their familiar, but they need enough magical energy to restrain a human at all times if they do such a thing. But if one constantly uses enough magical energy to control someone, it would take most of the Magus's magical energy to sustain the familiar. But that'd be putting the cart before the horse. Familiar is something that assists the Magus. To reduce that burden on the Magus, it's commonly accepted that small animals are most suitable. So I've been taught, but...
何かあるのですか、シロ？
いや、なんでもない。
Saber looks human no matter how you look at her, and she's clearly superior to me, her master. I don't have the magical energy to control such a person, and more than that, I don't have the magic circuit to summon a familiar. So Saber must be something rather unlike a familiar. She said she is a servant. I don't know what that is, but I think the man called Lancer and the man in red with Tosaka were the same thing. And it must be that Tosaka is also called a master. I just saw her magic skills. If I'm worth half a Magus, she's worth about 3 Magi. Though, of course, there's no point in comparing me to other Magi when I can only use the strengthening magic. Anyway, Tosaka is an amazing Magus. In any spiritually superior land is a family of Magi that looks after that land. The Emiya family only came to this land in Kiritsugu's generation, so we're just strangers. That's why I didn't know that the Tosaka were Magi. And I didn't think Tosaka knew that the Emiyas were a family of Magi either. There are several Magi in this town that I don't know about. If Lancer is the familiar of another Magus in this town, then does it mean that I stuck my head into a conflict between Magi?
結構広いのね。和風っていうのも新鮮だな。あ、エミヤ君、そこが今？
Saying so, Tosaka goes into the living room. Let's stop thinking for now. Let's just listen to Tosaka's story. I turned the lights on. It's already past 1 in the morning.
寒っ。何よ、窓ガラス全開してるじゃない。
仕方ないだろ。ランサーってやつに襲われたんだ。なりふり構ってられなかったんだよ。
ああ、そういうこと。じゃあ、セイバーを呼び出すまで一人であいつとやり合ってたの？
Badass Shirou.
やり合ってなんかない。ただ一方的にやられただけだ。
変な見え張らないんだ。そっかそっか。ほんと見た目通りなんだ、エミヤ君って。
Tosaka walks over to the broken window. She takes a piece of the shattered glass, takes a look at it, and she cuts the tip of her finger and puts a drop of her blood onto the glass. What kind of magic is this? The shattered glass combines on its own and restores itself in a matter of seconds.
遠坂、今の
ちょっとしたデモンストレーションよ。助けてもらったお礼にはならないけど、一応筋は通しておかないとね。もう私がやらなくともそっちで直したんだろうけど、こんなの魔力の無駄遣いでしょ。本当なら窓ガラスなんて取り替えれば済むけど、こんな寒い中で話すのもなんだし。
She says so as if it's something natural. But needless to say, her skills are beyond my understanding.
いや、すごいぞ遠坂。俺はそんなことできないからな。直してくれて感謝してる。できないってそんなことないでしょ。ガラスの扱いなんて初歩の初歩だもの。たった数分前に割れたガラスの修復なんてどこの学派でも入門試験みたいなものでしょ。そうなのか。俺は親父にしか教わったことがないから、そういう基本とか初歩とか知らないんだ。は
？Tosaka freezes. Damn it, it seems I said something I shouldn't have.
ちょっと待って。じゃあ何？エミヤ君は自分の工房の管理もできない半人前ってこと？
That was not the first thing he shouldn't have said.
I mean, he has not said even a single right thing this night. It's impressive.
Exactly. Especially to Saber.
Well, I do have that shed as my training area, but I think Tosaka would get mad if I called that my workshop.
まさかとは思うけど確認しとく。もしかしてあなた、5大要素の扱いとかパスの作り方も知らない。
I honestly admit that I don't know. Wow, that's scary. She's so beautiful usually, so she looks pretty scary now.
何？じゃああなた素人？
そんなこと
Now
ない
I'm
ぞ。
realizing.
一応強化の魔術ぐらいは使える。
Really, it's flat.
強化って。
Everyone's
ま
pretty
た
flat
な
in
んと
this
も半
game.
端なのを使うのね。で、それ以外はからっきしってわけ？
Tosaka glares at me, or I should say, they're realistically proportioned.
まあ端的に言えば多分。
Her glare makes my answer vague.
はあ、なんだってこんなやつにセイバーが呼び出されるのよ。まったく。
She sighed.
Because she missed the clock.
Because, yes, literally, because she forgot to fucking fix her clocks. She was 1 hour later. She attempted summoning 1 hour later.
I'm more surprised how he summoned Saber, but okay.
It makes me mad. I haven't been playing around. I know I'm an amateur, but I don't think it matters right now. I'll tell that to Tosaka.
もう決まったことに不平をこぼしても始まらない。そんなことより今は借りを返さないと。
Tosaka takes a breath.
それじゃあ話を始めるけど、エミヤ君、自分がどんな立場にあるのか分かってないでしょ。
I nod.
やっぱり。まあ一目で分かったけど、一応確認しとかないとね。知ってる相手に説明するなんて心の贅肉だし。
I think that was a weird phrase, but I stay quiet as I think she'll beat me up if I make fun of her now.
率直に言うと、エミヤ君はマスターに選ばれたの。どちらかの手に成功があるでしょ。手の甲とか腕とか、個人差はあるけど、3つの霊樹が刻まれているはず。それ、
手の甲って。あ、これか。
そう。それはサーバントを律する呪文でもあるから大切にね。霊樹って言うんだけど、それがある限りはサーバントを従えていられるわ。
ある限りってどういうことだよ。
霊樹は絶対命令権なの。サーバントには自由意志があるって気づいていると思うけど、それをねじ曲げて絶対に言いつけを守らせる呪文がその刻印。発動に呪文は必要なくて、あなたが霊樹を使用するって思えば発動するから。ただし1回使うたびに1つずつ減っていくから、使うのなら2回だけにとどめなさい。で、その霊樹がなくなったらエミヤ君は殺されるだろうから、せいぜい注意して。
俺が殺される？
そうよ。マスターが他のマスターを倒すのが聖杯戦争の基本だから。そうして他の6人を倒したマスターには望みを叶える聖杯が与えられるの。
Hold on. I don't understand what Tosaka is talking about at all. Like the part about master killing other masters? The part where the winner gets a holy grail? Wait, does she mean that holy grail?
まだわからない？要するにね、あなたはあるゲームに巻き込まれたのよ。聖杯戦争っていう7人のマスターの生存競争。他のマスターを一人残らず倒すまで終わらない魔術師同士の殺し合いに。
Tosaka states so as if it's the most natural thing in the world. That phrase swirls in my head. I've been chosen as a master. Tosaka says she is a master. Familiars called the servants, and a battle to the death between other magi called the Holy Grail War.
待て、なんだそれ。いきなり何言ってんだお前。
気持ちはわかるけど、私は事実を口にするだけよ。それにあなただって心の底では理解してるんじゃない？一度ならず二度までもサーバントに殺されかけて、自分はもう逃げられない立場なんだって。
That certainly, I was almost killed by that Lancer guy, but
あ、違うわね。殺されかけたんじゃなくて殺されたんだっけ。よく生き返ったわね、エミヤ君。
Tosaka's comment finishes me off. That's right. That guy killed me and I certainly died. No excuse nor negotiation was possible. I was just someone who had to be killed. So, Even if I do deny this battle to the death that I cannot understand, the others in it will not withdraw.
納得した？ならもう少しだけ話をしてあげる。聖杯戦争というのが何であるか私もよくは知らない。ただ何十年に一度7人のマスターが選ばれ、マスターにはそれぞれサーバントが与えられるってことだけは確かよ。
Just a
私はマス
question.
ターに選
By
ばれた
who?
一人。だから
By the
サ
Grail.
ーバントと契約したし、あなただってセーバーと契約
What?
した。
The Grail chooses the masters. We're gonna go over this soon, but the Grail is much more than
The
it
Grail
looks.
is... What is the Grail?
We will. That is a topic of discussion that will take the entire game to explain. So.
Wonderful, wonderful.
The Grail is basically.
No. Let's
a
let
god.
it. Let's just
Let's
let
say
it
that
happen.
is a god.
サーバントは聖杯戦争を勝ち残るために聖杯が与えた使い魔と考えなさい。で、マスターである私たちは自分のサーバントと協力して他のマスターを始末していくわけね。
So the Grail chooses the masters, and as explained by Irene in the prologue, it also summons the servants because summoning servants is too much. Normal magi can't do it. It's kind of very similar to true magic. So the Grail is the only thing in the world that's really able to do that. Tosaka's description is too brief for me to understand, but there is one thing I do wonder about.
ちょっと待ってくれ。遠坂はセイバーを使い魔だって言うけど、俺にはそうは思えない。だって使い魔っていうのは猫とか鳥だろ。そりゃ人の幽霊を扱うやつもいるって言うけど、セイバーはちゃんと体がある。それにそのとても使い魔なんかに見えない。
I glanced at Saber. Saber's quietly listening to our conversation. She looks just like a human being. I don't know her identity, but she's a girl about my age. Just having a girl like that near me is more than enough, so I don't get it why when she tells me that Saber is a familiar. And besides, my heart is pounding right now.
使い魔ね。まあサーバントはその分類ではあるけど位置づけは段違いよ。何しろそこにいる彼女はね、使い魔としては最強とされるゴーストライナーなんだから。
It's funny how he thinks that Saber is about his age.
ゴーストライナー。じゃあそのやっぱり幽霊ってことか。
A human ghost that stopped living a long time ago. The remaining minds of those with strong abilities who remain in this world even after they die. But that doesn't make sense. A ghost doesn't have a body. A ghost can only be hurt by ghosts. So as I have a body, a ghost shouldn't be able to kill me.
幽霊。似たようなものだけど、そんなもんと一緒にしたらセイバーに殺されるわよ。サーバントは受肉した過去の英雄。精霊に近い人間以上の存在なんだから。
受肉した過去の英雄。
そうよ。過去だろうが現代だろうが、とにかく死亡した伝説上の英雄をこう引っ張ってきてね。まあ呼び出すまでがマスターの役割で、後の実体化は聖杯がしてくれるんだけどね。魂を形にするなんてのは一介の魔術師には不可能だもの。
Which is
ここは
funny.
強力なアーティファクトの力におんぶしてもらうってわけ。
Which is funny because that's the point of the third magic. It's kind of interesting when you think about it from a Nasuverse perspective that every time you summon a servant, the third magic is kind of achieved.
ちょっと待
It's
って。
pretty trippy
過
shit.
去の英雄って。
Wait a minute, what's the third magic?
It's more of an observation to the other two because they kind of know stuff about Nasuverse lore. But there's
Okay.
5 magicians.
I'm the noob.
Right?
I'm Shirou in this situation, okay.
Yeah. Back in the
you are
prologue,
Shirou.
we were talking about how there were 5 sorcerers or magicians, people who can do
Wait a minute,
actual
wait.
miracles.
Quick comment. I am not that dashed to Shirou. I'm like Shirou, I'm not Shirou in this situation.
Indeed.
I'm not stupid.
But yeah, there's 5 true magi, or true magicians, I should say, or sorcerers. and they can do each specific kind of miraculous kind of spell that's far beyond the reach of normal magic. And what the Grail does when it gives shape to a servant is almost identical to one of them. So it's almost like it's completely breaking the rules of magic every time it operates. It's pretty crazy. I look over at Saber. Then she's a heroine from the past, too. Well, it's true that nobody would dress like that now, but still.
そんなの不可能だ。そんな魔術聞いたことがない。
当然よ。これは魔術じゃないもの。あくまで聖杯による現象と考えなさい。そうでなければ魂を再現して固定化するなんてできるはずがない。
魂の再現って。じゃあそのサーバントは幽霊とは違うのか。
違うわ。人間であれ動物であれ機械であれ、偉大な功績を残すと輪廻の輪から外されて一段階上に昇華するって話聞いたことない？英霊っていうのはそういう連中よ。要するに崇め立て祀られて疑似的な神様になった者たちなんでしょうね。高霊術とか口寄せとかそういう一般的な霊を扱う魔術は彼らの力の一部を借り受けて奇跡を起こすでしょ。けどこのサーバントっていうのは英霊本体を直接連れてきて使い魔にする。だから基本的には霊体としてそばにいるけど必要とあれば実体化させて戦わせられるってわけ。
その霊体と実体を使い分けられるってことか。遠坂のサーバントは姿が見えないけど今は霊体ってことか。
いえ、あいつはうちの召喚人で傷を癒している最中よ。さっきセイバーにやられたでしょ。あれだってあと少し強制撤去が遅かったら一撃で消滅してたわ。いい？サーバントを倒せるのは同じ霊体であるサーバントだけ。そりゃ相手が実体化していればこっちの攻撃も当たるからうまくすれば倒せるかもしれないけど、サーバントはみんな怪物じみてるでしょ。だから怪物の相手は怪物に任せてマスターは後方支援をするっていうのがセオリーね。
Tosaka's explanation irritates me for some reason. She calls them monsters. I don't know about the other servants, but I don't want her to talk about Saber like that.
とにかくマスターになった人間は召喚したサーバントを使って他のマスターを倒さなければならない。そのあたりは理解できた？
言葉の上でなら。けど納得なんて言ってないぞ。そもそもそんな悪趣味なことを誰が何のために始めたんだ？
Only the most important question.
それは私が知るべきことでもないし答えてあげることでもない。そのあたりはいずれちゃんと聖杯戦争を監督しているやつに聞きなさい。私が教えてあげられるのはね、あなたはもう戦うしかなくてサーバントは強力な使い魔だからうまく使えってことだけよ。
Tosaka says so, and now turns to Saber.
さて、エミヤ君から話を聞いた限りじゃあなたは不完全な状態みたいね、セイバー。
ええ、あなたの言う通り私は万全ではありません。
Cooperation with the enemy.
シローには私を実体化させる魔力がない
Shirou
た
stay
め、
the
霊体に
night.
戻ることも魔力の回復も難しいでしょう。
驚いたわ。そこまでひどかったこともだけどあなたが正直に話してくれるなんて思わなかった。
敵に弱点を見抜かれるのは不本意ですが、あなたの目は欺けそうにない。それならばあなたに知ってもらうことでシローにより深く現状を理解してもらった方がいい。
正解。風格も十分と。もうますます惜しい。私がセイバーのマスターだったらこんな戦い勝ったも同然だったのに。
Too bad you'll never be rad. Tosaka clenches her fists with anger.
遠坂、それ俺がふさわしくないってことか。
当然でしょ、ヘッポコ。
Wow, she just said something that any normal person would have trouble saying.
何？まだなんか質問があるの？
And she doesn't realize it. Her honor student image from school crumbles inside of me. Good going, Issei. Tosaka certainly shows no openings, just like a devil.
さて、話がまとまったところでそろそろ行きましょうか。
Tosaka suddenly says something strange.
行くってどこへ？
だからあなたが巻き込まれたこのゲーム、聖杯戦争をよく知っているやつに会いに行くの。
それは当然だ。けど、それってどこだよ？
大丈夫。隣町だから急げば夜明けまでには帰ってこれるわ。それに明日は日曜なんだから別に夜更かししてもいいじゃない。
いや、そういう問題じゃなくて。
It's just that a lot of things happened today, so I want to have a rest and think about them.
何？行かないの？もうエミヤ君がそう言うんならいいけど、セイバーは？
Tosaka asks Saber.
ちょっと待て、セイバーは関係ないだろう。あんまり無理強いするな。
He's jealous.
もうマスターとしての自覚はあるんだ。私がセイバーと話すのは嫌？
そんなことあるか。ただ、遠坂の言うのが本当なら、セイバーは昔の英雄なんだろ？なら、こんな現代に呼び出されて、右も左もわからないはずだ。だから、
シロ、それは違う。サーバントは人間の世であるのなら、あらゆる時代に適応します。
I love how
ですからこの時代のこともよく知っている。
Shirou stopped being beat physically, and now he's being beat verbally by two women in his own house.
That he was probably like in a bed, but okay.
もちろん、この時代に呼び出されたのも一度ではありませんから。
This is not the first time that I have been summoned into this age is going to come up again.
嘘。どんな確率よそれ。
Hey, Tosaka is surprised as well. So that must mean Saber said something incredible.
シロ、私は彼女に賛成です。あなたはマスターとして知識がなさすぎる。あなたと契約したサーバントとして、シロには強くなってもらわなければ困ります。
Saber stares at me silently. It's a gentle stare that's worried not for herself, but for me.
わかった。行けばいいんだろ。で、それってどこなんだ、遠坂。ちゃんと帰ってこれる場所なんだろうな。
もちろん。行き先は隣町の琴峰教会。そこがこの戦いを監督しているエセ神父の居所よ。
Tosaka makes an evil smile. It looks like she's having fun dragging me around while I don't know anything. It might be prejudice, but I'm beginning to feel like there's a problem with her personality. No, Shirou, I don't think you're wrong.
Now that I think of it, he's probably not entirely wrong.
No, he's not.
He's not.
She's a massive, massive asshole. We walk through the nighttime town.
Like his friend said, she is a fox.
Yes, a fox, a monster, and a schoolgirl. Worst of all.
I think it's fun that Archer said that he was the most powerful servant. And
Yeah,
he
and
was
he
not
got manhandled by Saber in one strike.
And Saber is not even in her strongest.
Saber was summoned by Shirou of all people, and she still beat Archer in 2 seconds. It's past 1 in the morning. And she was wounded as well. It's past 1 in the morning, and there's no one out at this time. The lights in the houses are out, and only the street lamps illuminate the silent town.
まあ、遠坂。スカのことを聞くけど、歩いて隣町まで行く気なのか？
No, we can just get a cab.
そうよ。だって電車もバスも終わってるでしょ。いいんじゃない？たまには夜の散歩っていうのも。
そうか。一応聞くけど、隣町までどのくらいかかるか知ってるか？
I love how Shirou doesn't appreciate that she can kill him if she wants to.
I was thinking about it.
He's like, I don't want to go there.
I was thinking about it since the
歩いてだ
time
って
they
1時間
met.
ぐらいかしらね。まあ、遅くなったら帰りはタ
I
クシーでも
mean,
拾えば
Saber
いい
can
でしょ。
fly for in 1 second.
That's true. That's true.
That's true. That's
He
fair.
wouldn't let her though, because Saber shouldn't be fighting anyone. Err.
Girl cannot hold a sword.
If it gets late, we can always take a
そん
cab.
な余分な金は使わないし、俺が言いたいのは女の子が夜で歩くのはどうかってことだ。
There you go.
最近物騒なのは知ってるだろ。もしものことがあったら責任持てないぞ。
Shirou, she can kill you if she wants to.
That's looking good.
安心しなさい。相手がどんなやつだろうとちょっかいなんて出してこないわ。
She's right. Whoever it is, if someone attacks her, they will be counterattacked viciously.
Shiro's officially
シ
based.
ロは今何を言いたかったのでしょう。私には理解できなかったのですが。
いや、大した勘違いっぷりっていうか、大間抜けっていうか。なんでも私たちが痴漢に襲われたらエミヤ君が助けてくれる。
Playing
そんな
stupid.
More.
He
シ
is
ロ
the
は私の
pervert.
マスターだ。
A pervert like
それでは立
himself.
場が逆ではないですか。
You have to appreciate the disguise, where they thought, well, Saber is wearing armor. How do we get her to walk somewhere else? Put her in a raincoat.
そういうの考えてない。
Bright
Normal
yellow
coat
raincoat.
with-
魔術師とかサーバントとかどうでもいいって感じ。あいつの頭の中一度見てみたくなったわね。
Oops.
Tosaka and Saber now know each other well enough to talk to each other. Saber has been silent ever since I stopped her from going out dressed like she was. She said she wouldn't take off her armor, so I made her wear a raincoat, and she's been quiet ever since. Now she follows me and only speaks to Tosaka. Perks of the job, man.
どっちに行くのよエミヤ君。そっち道が違うんじゃない？
橋に出ればいいんだろ。ならこっちのが近道だ。
I don't want to walk alongside them, so I quickly make my way to the small side road. They follow me without objection. You know, I think Saber also wants to be Rin's servant. We come out into the park. We have to cross that bridge to go to the neighboring town of Shinto, but
こんな道あったんだ。そっか。橋には公園からでも行けるんだから、公園を目指せばいいのね。
maybe it's just because it's nighttime. Tosaka's face looking up at the bridge seems even more beautiful than it's cool. I'm troubled.
いいから行くぞ。別に遊びに来たわけじゃないんだから。
I hurry Tosaka, who is standing still in the park, and make my way up the stairs. Once we reach the road alongside the bridge, Shinto will be straight ahead of us.
Wait, just a question.
Yeah.
Shiro's like that in the anime.
He is worse in the anime because you have no idea what he's thinking.
Let's go.
There's
Yeah,
no one
he's
at the
bored.
bridge. That's only natural, as not many people use it even during daytime. It's more normal to use the bus or the train to get to the neighboring town, so this bridge is rarely used. That's because it's so long and it carries a fear that it might collapse on you. That must be why this place isn't used for dates, even though it's perfect location-wise. I love how Nasu just hates bridges in Kara no Kyokai.
何考えてんだ俺。
He keeps complaining about one being built in the city where it takes place. Saber is following me silently, and Tosaka is walking right beside me. Trying to ignore them, I hurry across the bridge. Beyond the bridge, Tosaka leads us into the suburbs. When I think about Shinto, only the office buildings in front of the station come to mind, but there are streets from older times once you get away from the station. The suburbs are the most extreme of those. There are hilly roads and a high ground overlooking the sea. As you go further up the hill, there are fewer buildings, and the foreigner's cemetery built on the slope of the hill can be seen.
この上が教会よ。エミヤ君も一度ぐらいは行ったことがあるんじゃない？
いや、ない。あそこが孤児院だったってことぐらいは知ってるけど。
そう。なら今日が初めてか。じゃあ少し気を引き締めた方がいいわ。
Tosaka starts up the hill. Looking up, I can see a building at the top of the hill. A church atop the hill. I never thought I'd visit God's house for the first time for a reason like this. It's a pretty shitty reason to go to church, guys.
すごいなこれ。
The church is magnificent. The whole top of the hill must be the church's land, as a flat field welcomes me as soon as I reach the top. The church isn't that big, but it is compelling, towering over its visitors.
シロ、私はここに残ります。
なんでだよ。ここまで来たのにセイバーだけ置いてけぼりなんてできないだろう。
私は教会に来たのではなく、シロを守るためについてきたのです。シロの目的地が教会であるのなら、これ以上遠くには行かないでしょう。
Saber says clearly. It doesn't seem like she'll budge an inch, so I decide to respect her decision.
わかった。それじゃあ行ってくる。
はい。誰であろうと気を許さないように、マスター。
It is a large, impressive chapel. Since it's so large, many people must come here during the day. If he's entrusted
All
with
5 Japanese who believe in God, okay.
the entire Japanese Catholic population lives in
All
Fuki.
20 of them.
All 20 of them. If he's entrusted with such a church, the priest here must be a man of character. What a character he
どう
is!
ぞか。ここの神父さんっていうのはどんな人なんだ。
どんな人かって説明するのは難しいわね。10年来の知人だけど、私だって未だにあいつの性格はつかめないもの。
10年来の知人？
This soundtrack is amazing.
それはまた随分と年季が入った関係だな。もしかして親戚か何かか。
You could definitely say that.
親戚じゃないけど、私の後見人よ。ついでに言うと、兄弟子にして第二の師っていうところ。
兄弟子って魔術師としての兄弟子？
そうだけど、なんで驚くのよ、そこで。
Maybe it's because he's a
だって
priest.
神父さんなんだろ？神父さんが魔術なんてそんなのご法度じゃないか。
Who doesn't like a little bit of heresy?
I know, right? By their nature, a magus and the church cannot be in harmony. Tell that to Tokyomi. The organization that Magi belong to is called the Magic Association, and the other side of religion, the side you wouldn't see while living a normal life, is called the Holy Church. The two are barely similar. They cooperate in name, but they're always trying to kill each other when given the chance. The church hates heretics. They totally eliminate the inhuman, and they count magic-using humans among their target. For the church, miracles are only given to those chosen holy saints. Any miracles handled by other people are heresies. There are no exceptions, even for those within the church. The higher one rises in the church, the more one is prohibited from the impurity of magic. And for a follower entrusted with a church like this, and the more divine protection one receives, the more one should stay away from magic.
そもそもここの神父さんってこっち側の人だったのか。
ええ、聖杯戦争の監督役を任されたやつだもの。バリッバリの代行者よ。まあ。
Tosaka's footsteps echo as she approaches the altar. It's bad manners to do that when the priest isn't here, but it's so late at night. It won't be in the chapel, so if he's anywhere, it will be in the private room in the back.
んで、その神父さんはなんて言うんだ。さっきは琴峰とかなんとか言ってたけど。
名前は琴峰綺麗。父さんの教え子でね。もう10年以上顔を合わせてる腐れ縁よ。まあ、できれば知り合いたくなかったけど。
I like that there's a dude at 7 a.m. who is playing an organ.
Yep.
That's true.
Said anything about being a dude?
Who is
think
that
so.
dude?
He must have noticed our entry as he slowly appears from the other side of the altar.
再三の呼び出しにも応じぬと思えば変わった客を連れてきたな。彼が7人目というわけか、リン。
It'd be funny if Kirei just had like a tiny, like a little cat familiar that played the organ for him while he was doing all these speeches at night.
It would be funnier to watch a cat play an organ. That would be funny.
中身は点で素人だから見てられなくって。確かマスターになった者はここに届けを出すのが決まりだったわよね。 あんたたちが勝手に決めたルールだけど、今回は守ってあげる。
それは結構。なるほど。ではその少年には感謝しなくてはな。
The priest called Kotomine slowly turns to me. Without realizing, I step back. He's not scary at all. I don't feel any hostility from him. But this priest still has a presence that makes the air around him feel heavy.
私はこの教会を任されている。琴峰きれいというものだが、君の名は何というのかな。7人目のマスターへ。
エミやシロ。けど、俺はまだマスターなんてものになった覚えはないからな。
I glare back at the priest, trying not to lose against his presence.
エミや、シ
Shirou.
The weight on my back turns into a chill. The priest slowly smiles as if he's met someone pleasant. That smile, it makes me...
礼を言う、エミや。よくリンを連れてきてくれた。君がいなければあれは最後までここには訪れなかったろう。
The priest makes his way towards the altar. Tosaka moves away from the altar and stands beside me.
では始めよう。エミやシロ。君はセイバーのマスターで間違いはないか。
それは違う。確かに俺はセイバーと契約した。
No, he's not. No, I just dude.
I don't want in on this, man.
I didn't expect it.
I just have my sister. No, I don't have my sister install this thing with just well roar. I don't know why I'm here instead of her, but okay.
Just another Saturday.
なるほど。これは重傷だ。彼は本当に何も知らないのか、リン。
だから素人だって言ったじゃない。そのあたりからしつけてあげて。そういう追い込み得意でしょ、あんた。
Tosaka urges the priest.
これはそういうことか。よかろう。お前が私を頼ったのはこれが初めてだ。エミやシローには感謝をしてもし足りないな。
Father Kotomine laughs. Their conversation makes me feel uneasy.
まず君の勘違いを正そう。いいか、エミやシロー。マスターというものは他人に譲れるものではないし、なってしまった以上やめられるものでもない。その腕に霊樹を刻まれた者は、たとえ何者であろうとマスターをやめることはできん。
やめることはできないって。
霊樹とは聖魂でもある。マスターとは与えられた試練だ。都合が悪いからといって放棄することはできん。その痛みからは聖杯を手に入れるまでは解放されない。お前がマスターを辞めたいというのであれば、聖杯を手に入れ斧が望みを叶えるより他はあるまい。お前の望み、その内に溜まった泥を全てかき出すこともできる。そうだ、初めからやり直すこととて可能だろう。
It is possible to desire for more wishes.
No.
Nope.
I mean, technically you could, but again, you don't know how it would do that, because at the end of the day, it's the Grail who's doing the magic, not you. So, like if you interpret the Grail as kind of a computer that you type a suggestion into, the way that it interprets what you say is its own. So you have to word it in a very specific way. I don't think you can just ask for more wishes though, because it's a one-time thing.
You have
could-
to be
especially
My
careful
first was leave, please.
with
I mean, you
your
could ask for the
words.
second best thing, which is to become a magician. I believe the Grail would be able to do that, to put you in contact with the root. I mean, and then you'd be able to do crazy shit.
もしその時が来るのなら、君はマスターに選ばれた幸運に感謝するのだからな。その目に見えぬ火傷の跡を消したいのならば、聖魂を受け入れるだけでいい。
Those burns that cannot be seen, huh? It appears that Kire knows exactly what he's talking about in relation to Shirou. I feel dizzy. The priest's words don't make any sense. They just confuse me more and more as I listen. But still, his words soak into my brain and clot like blood.
Kire, 回りくどい真似はしないで。私は彼にルールを説明してあげてって言ったのよ。
But how would he know? A voice comes in. That clears up my dizzy head.
そうか。こういった手合いには何を言っても無駄だからな。せめて勘違いしたまま道徳を拭い去ってやろうと思ったのだが、情けは人のためならずとはよく言ったものだ。つい私自身も楽しんでしまったが。
何よ、彼を助けるといいことあるっていうの？あんた。
あるとも。人を助けるということはいずれ自身を救うということだからな。と今さらお前に説いても始まるまい。では本題に戻ろうか。エミやシロ、君が巻き込まれたこの戦いは聖杯戦争と呼ばれるものだ。7人のマスターが7人のサーバントを用いて繰り広げる争奪戦。
聞いてる。7人のマスターで殺し合うっていうふざけた話だろ。
そうだ。だが我らとて好きでこのような非道を行っているわけではない。全てが聖杯を得るにふさわしいものを選抜するための儀式だ。何しろ物が物だからな。所有者の選定にはいくつかの試練が必要だ。
What trials? I bet this priest doesn't think of this Holy Grail war thing as a trial.
待てよ。さっきから聖杯聖杯って繰り返してるけど、それって一体何なんだ？
The Holy Grail, a grail said to have received the blood of the Christ. It is considered to be one of the greatest holy relics and said to be capable of many miracles. The most common rumor about it is that the one who obtains the Grail will obtain the world. But that's just an invention. After all, the Holy Grail itself is almost something that exists but doesn't exist. A Holy Grail that makes wishes come true certainly appears in many folklores and legends around the world. But that's it. The fictional power that doesn't exist and isn't possible. That is the Holy Grail.
どうなんだ、琴峰綺麗。あんたの言う聖杯は本当に聖杯なのか？
もちろんだとも。この町に現れる聖杯は本物だ。その証拠の一つとして、サーバントなどという法外な奇跡が起きているだろう。過去の英霊を呼び出し刺激する。いいな。すでに死者の蘇生に近いこの奇跡は魔法と言
える。Nearly true magic.
これだけの力を持つ聖杯ならば、持ち主に無限の力を与えよう。物の心眼など、その事実の前には無価値だ。
So, it means that even if it is a fake, it doesn't matter if it has powers that would overwhelm even the true Grail.
いいぜ。仮に聖杯があるとする。けど、ならなんだって聖杯戦争なんてものをさせるんだ。聖杯があるんなら殺し合うことなんてない。そう。
もっともな意見だが、そんな自由は我々にはない。聖杯を手にする者はただ一人。それは私たちが決めたのではなく、聖杯自体が決めたことだ。7人のマスターを選ぶのも、7人のサーバントを呼び出すのも、これは儀式だと言っただろう。聖杯は自らを持つにふさわしい人間を選び、彼らを競わせて、それが聖杯戦争。聖杯に選ばれ、手に入れるために殺し合う恒例儀式というわけだ。
The priest speaks plainly. I have no rebuttal and look down at my left hand. There's the mark they call the command spell. It must mean that as long as I have this mark, I cannot quit being a master.
納得いかないな。一人だけしか選ばれないにしたって、他のマスターを殺すしかないっていうのは気に食わない。
ちょっと待って。 殺すしかないっていうのは誤解よ、エミヤ君。別にマスターを殺す必要はないんだから。は
あ？だって殺し合いだって言ったじゃないか。琴峰もそう言ってたぞ。
殺し合いだ。
綺麗は黙ってて。あのね、この町に伝わる聖杯っていうのは霊体なの。だから物としてあるわけじゃなくて、特別な儀式で呼び出す。で、呼び出すことは私たち魔術師だけでもできるんだけど、これが霊体である以上、私たちには触れられない。
わかる。霊体には霊体しか触れられないんだろ。ああ、だからサーバントが必要なのか。
そういうこと。ぶっちゃけた話、聖杯戦争っていうのは自分のサーバント以外のサーバントを撤去させるってことよ。
Man, she could have told me that earlier. Honestly, Tosaka and this priest were being mean. Now I'm relieved. So even if we enter this Holy Grail war, Tosaka's not going to die.
なるほど。そういう考えもで
A
きる。
simple the way.
Indeed.
ではエミヤシロ、一つ尋ねるが、君は自分のサーバントを倒せると思うか？
Beat Saber? That's impossible. In the first place, magic is useless against her, and she's skilled with her sword.
ではもう一つ尋ねよう。つまらぬ問いだが、君は自分がサーバントより優れていると思える？
What's he saying? I can't beat Saber, so there's no way I'm superior to her. For this question, my answer will always be that I am weaker than my servant, so...
そういうことだ。サーバントはサーバントをもってしても破りがたい。ならばどうするか。そら、実に単純な話だろう。サーバントはマスターがいなければ存在できぬ。いかにサーバントが強力であろうと、マスターが潰されれば、そのサーバントも消滅する。ならば。
That's right. It's a natural solution. No one would choose to take the hard way. If you want to win, the most effective way to kill the servants would be to kill their masters instead.
ああ、サーバントを消すためにはマスターを倒した方が早いってのは分かった。けど、それじゃ逆にサーバントが先にやられたらマスターはマスターでなくなるのか。聖杯に触れられるのはサーバントだけなんだろう。
いや、霊樹がある限りマスターの権利は残る。マスターとはサーバントと契約できる魔術師のことだ。霊樹があるうちはいくらでもサーバントと契約できる。マスターを失ったサーバントはすぐに消えるわけではない。彼らは体内の魔力が尽きるまでは現世にとどまれる。そういったマスターを失ったサーバントがいれば、サーバントを失ったマスターとて再契約が可能となる。だからこそマスターはマスターを殺すのだ。下手に生かしておけば新たな障害になる可能性があるからな。
じゃあ霊樹を使い切ったら、そうすれば他のサーバントと契約できないし、自由になったサーバントも他のマスターとくっつくだろう。
待って、それは。
それはその通りだ。霊樹さえ使い切ってしまえば、もっとも強力な魔術を行える霊樹を無駄に使うなどという魔術師がいるとは思えないが、いたとしたらそいつは半人前どころかただのふぬけということだろう。
Man, Shirou is just being humiliated tonight.
That's true.
Yeah.
The priest laughs, and he knows what I'm thinking about. I'm annoyed. That priest is making fun of me. I think he's trying to provoke me. Oh, you think? His tone of voice pisses me off.
納得がいったか。ならばルールの説明はここまでだ。さて、それでは初めに戻ろう。エミヤシロ、君はマスターになったつもりはないと言ったが、それは今でも同じなのか。マスターを放棄するというのならそれもよかろう。 君が今考えた通り、レイジを使い切ってセーバーとの契約を立てばよい。その場合、聖杯戦争が終わるまで君の安全は私が保証する。
ちょっと待った。なんだってあんたに安全を保証されなくちゃいけないんだ。
Sure
自
you
分の身
can.
ぐらい自分で守る。
Of course you can. Of
私
course.
とてお前に構うほど暇ではない。だがこれも決まりでな。私は繰り返される聖杯戦争を監督するために派遣された。故に聖杯戦争による犠牲
By
は
the church.
最小限にとどめな
You
くて
see,
はならない。
the church doesn't participate, but they have to mediate it. They have to mediate it because even if the Holy Grail isn't the actual thing.
So the church is like a FIFA for the Holy Grail Warriors. That's the rules.
It doesn't set the rules. It makes sure that people aren't breaking them. The ones that the Grail has set before. They've kind of taken responsibility over the Grail because it's at least nominally speaking the real thing. They know it isn't, but it's supposed to be. So it's technically their property. They know that they can't stop it. So what they do instead is try to make it not go absolutely insane. And so they provide protection services for the masters that are going to get killed, and you know, they try to keep everything generally, you know, understandable.
In control?
Yeah. That doesn't mean it works, but you know.
マスターで亡くなった魔術
It
師を
just
Until
feels
they
like a
try.
big
監督役として最優先事項なのだよ。
I mean, the biggest example of it not working is the fact that only Shirou and Dean apparently ever went to church when everyone should have gone and declared their mastership to Kirei. So.
繰り返される聖杯戦争。
Hold on. Repeating. Does he mean that this kind of battle has happened many times before?
それどういうことだよ。聖杯戦争っていうのは今に始まったことじゃないのか。
無論だ。でなければ監督役などというものが派遣されると思うか。この教会は聖遺物を回収する任を帯びる特務局の末端でな。本来は聖十字の調査回収を旨とするが、極東の地に観測された第726聖杯を調査し、これが正しいものであるのなら回収し、そうでなければ否定しろとだ。
726って聖杯ってのはそんなにたくさんあるのか。
さあ、少なくともらしきものならばそれだけの数があったということだろう。
Catholic artifacts, guys.
そしてその中の一つがこの町で観測される聖杯であり、聖杯戦争だ。記録では200年ほど前が一度目の戦いになっている。以後約50年周期でマスターたちの戦いは繰り返されている。聖杯戦争はこれで5度目。前回が10年前であるから今までで最短のサイクルということになるが、
10 years ago, huh?
正気かお前ら。こんなことを今まで4度も続けてきたって。
まったく同感だ。
10 years ago.
お前の言う通り、連中はこんなことを何度も繰り返してきたのだよ。そう。
I'm still confused by why they know his father, but okay.
マスターたちは斧が欲望に突き動かされ、魔術師としての教えを忘れ、ただ無差別に殺し合いを行った。君も知っていると思うが、魔術師にとって魔術を一般社会で使用することは第一の罪悪だ。だが、過去のマスターたちはそれを破った。魔術協会は彼らを戒めるために監督役を派遣したが、それが間に合ったのは3度目の聖杯戦争でな。その時に派遣されたのが私の父というわけだが。
ああ、監督役が必要な理由は分かった。けど今の話からすると、この聖杯戦争っていうのはとんでもなくタチが悪いものなんじゃないのか。
You know, Kirei's he's Catholic because he's the son of the last priest who was supervising the war.
Wait a minute, he's the son of a priest?
Yes, he is. Roman Catholicism, guys. Everyone is very, very Catholic here.
What the?
Not even I
mean, he's a mage. Having a wife is the least of his concerns.
Not only they use magic, not only they understand. Okay, there is a thing that apparently has the power of God in there, randomly appearing every 60 years. We will not question that, but okay. And then we have priests have sons.
Yeah.
What is going on?
Technically speaking, Kotomine is and his dad are both part of the side of the church that is dealing with heretics, and they get special privileges, such as not being excommunicated when they have children or use magic.
Okay. The worst part is because there is an explanation to that in a more theological way, because there is cases in real life of priests that are allowed to have families and such. But
indeed, that is the point. They are breaking the rules because the church needs dogs that can hunt down magi and other such things that are really difficult to deal with, such as the Fuyuki Grail, which might not be the actual Grail, but it sure as hell is pretty close. So they need someone there to give it a look.
だって以前のマスターたちは魔術師のルールを破るような奴らだったんだろう。
And magic runs familially in the Nasuverse, so you can only really have more magi working for the church if the magi that already work for the church have children. It makes sense. It's not great, and it's very hypocritical, but some would say that's the point.
And Toss says,
最後まで勝ち残ったやつが聖杯を私利私欲で使うようなやつだったらどうする？平気で人を殺すようなやつにそんなものが渡ったらまずいだろう。魔術師を監視するのが教会の仕事なら、あんたはそういうやつを罰するべきじゃないのか。
I question, with a little hope. But as I expected, Kotomine Kire laughs.
まさか私利私欲で動かぬ魔術師などおるまい。我々が管理するのは聖杯戦争の決まりだけだ。その後のことなど知らん。
そんなバカな。じゃあ聖杯を手に入れたマスターが最悪なやつだったらどうするんだよ。
困るな。だが私たちではどうしようもない。持ち主を選ぶのは聖杯だ。そして聖杯に選ばれたマスターを止める力など何しろ望みを叶える杯だ。手に入れたものはやりたい放題だろうさ。しかしそれが嫌だというのならお前が勝ち残ればいい。他人を当てにするよりはその方が何よりも覚悟。
Kotomine is trying to hold back his laughter. It's like he's enjoying my clumsy inability to accept the facts.
どうした少年。今のはいいアイデアだと思うのだが参考にする気はないのかな。
そんなの余計なお世話だ。第一、俺には戦う理由がない。聖杯なんてものに興味がないし。
おお。では聖杯を手に入れた人間が何をするか。それによって最悪が起きたとしても。
それは。
I can't answer that question. Crap, his words are violent. They forced the truth onto me whether I want it or not.
理由がないのならそれも結構。ならば、10年前の出来事にもお前は関心を持たないのだ。
10
年前。
そうだ。前回の聖杯戦争の最後にな。ふさわしくないマスターが聖杯に触れた。そのマスターが何を望んでいたかは知らん。
For an instant, that image of hell flashes in my head.
待ってくれ。まさかそれは。
そうだ。この町に住む者なら誰もが知っている出来事だよ。エミやシロ。 死傷者500名、焼け落ちた建物は実に134と、未だもって原因不明とされるあの火災こそが。
Just that? Just 500?
Yep. Feels sick.
Wow, that's a small number for a wish that's supposedly horrible.
I mean,
It is a small town.
it's complicated. We are going to find out why.
I think it's a small number.
It's a
for,
small number, yeah, but there's reasons as to why it's small. Which
I don't know the reason. I didn't watch Fake Zero.
Yeah, we are still
Yeah,
going
yeah.
to find that out later.
Wait
we'll
a minute,
find-
I
don't remember.
The whole dialogue is Fate Zero specific.
No, it's not. Fate Zero was written long after Fate Stay Night. They explain everything over the course of the novel. It's just that this novel is very heavily reliant on unreliability in when it comes to the characters. They hide things, they lie, they tell you half-truths. Sometimes they withhold information for you for long amounts of time, and all of that is very important. So we're going to find out the truth when it comes to it. And sometimes we'll find out the truth.
People in this world are really nice, like, you know. They are so...
They're great.
So honest, so fun, so great.
And sometimes we're going to find out the truth and then figure it out that it's actually a lie later. So
I could think Kirei is a reliable guy.
he's a great guy. He never lies. He's a priest. My vision blurs.
He's a priest.
Have you ever seen a priest
a
that lies? I lose concentration and I can't focus my eyes. My body stumbles. But I hold myself firm. I hold on to my consciousness by clenching my teeth. I hold back my nausea with the anger boiling up in me.
エミヤ君どうしたのよいきなり顔面真っ白にしちゃってそりゃあんまり気持ちのいい話じゃなかったけど
I must have looked terrible. I think it's very rare for Tosaka to be worried like that.
心配無用だ。遠坂の変な顔を見たら治った。
Finally.
ちょっとそれどういう意味よ
いや、
It's a
愛はないん
refrain
だ。
expression.
言葉通りの意味だから気にするな。
I meant it literally, so don't worry about it.
He's a simp.
ならいいけど
Oh,
余計に悪いじゃないこのド変僕
The handbook.
The school's number one honor student, Tosaka Rin, smacks me in the head. That does it. With that, the nausea and anger all go away.
サンキュー。本当に助かったから、あんまりいじめないでくれ。遠坂。
She really did just slap him and he said thank you.
Yep. She looks like she hasn't hit me enough, but she still lets me continue.
He's literally a simp.
まだ質問があるのか。いいぞ。言いたいことは全て言ってしまえ。
Oh boy.
Should know what I want to ask, yet he asks me to go on. Fine.
He's literally a simp.
Emi Ashiro won't lose
He's
to
a
you.
good man.
じゃあ聞く。あんた、聖杯戦争は今回が5回目だって言ったな。
No.
当然だろう。そう毎回全滅などという決めは起きん。
じゃあ、
早まるな。手に入れるだけならば簡単だ。何しろ聖杯自体はこの教会で管理している。
The Holy Grail is at this church.
もっともそれは器だけだ。中身が空なのだよ。先ほどリンが言っただろう。聖杯とはでこの教会に保管してあるのは極めて精巧に作られた聖杯のレプリカだ。これを触媒にして本物の聖杯を降霊させ願いを叶える杯にする。
じゃあ、聖杯は本物だったのか。あ、いや、手にしたっていうそいつは一体どうなったんだ。
どうにもならん。その聖杯は完成には至らなかった。
There you
バ
go.
カな男がつまらぬ
What
干
is
渉を
a
された結果
perfectly
だよ。
complete?
The effect was incomplete because the Grail was incomplete. Why was it incomplete? Well, that's
Yeah.
more complicated.
So that's why it only killed about 500 people.
Well, at the end of the day, what happened was it only really affected one city block. It was very dense, but Fuyuki isn't very big, and a city block only has about that many people. So pretty much everyone in the city block got killed or wounded. But
but it's not like the Holy Grail just became a nuclear bomb.
Well, if it were to be complete, it might have killed everyone in the world. The fact that it didn't was a chance occurrence. So the previous pressure gone, the priest narrows his eyes as if in regret.
どういうことだ？聖杯は現れたんじゃないのか？
聖杯を表すだけならば簡単だ。7人のサーバントが揃い、時間が経てば聖杯は現れる。だがそれでは聖杯は完成しない。あれは自らを得るにふさわしい持ち主を選ぶ。故に戦いを回避した男には聖杯など手に入らなかった。
That didn't sound right.
要するに他のマスターと決着をつけずに聖杯を手に入れても無意味ってことでしょ。前回一番初めに聖杯を手に入れたマスターはアマちゃんだったのよ。敵のマスターとは戦いたくないなんて言って聖杯から逃げたんだから。
So saying Tosaka looks away from Kotomine. Does that mean Kotomine was one of the masters in the last war and that he retired because he refused to fight in spite of obtaining the Grail?
あんた戦わなかったのか？
途中まで戦いはした。だが判断を間違えた。結果として私は空の聖杯を手にしただけだ。もっとも私ではそれが限界だったろう。何しろ他のマスターたちはどいつもこいつも化け物揃いだったからな。私は真っ先にサーバントを失い、そのまま父に保護されたよ。思えば監督役の息子がマスターに選ばれるなど、父はその折に亡くなった。以後私は監督役を引き継ぎ、この教会で聖杯を守っている。
What a weird persecution must be like him with him in charge.
The vessel, is that what he said? He said that he got an empty Holy Grail. He is referring to the vessel.
He bought from
He says what he is saying here is that in the last war,
fake replica.
Yeah, in the last war he won the Grail, but he didn't fight anyone else. He escaped from the war, and he ended up getting an empty or incomplete Grail. So the event would have been an accident, right?
So it was him who created.
There is a lot of things here.
See, the master who obtained the Grail in the last war was just a chicken. He just ran away from the Grail, saying that he didn't want to fight other masters. Kotomine was one of the masters in the last war, and he retired because he refused to fight in spite of obtaining the Grail. Therefore, before him stands the symbol of worship.
話はここまでだ。聖杯を手にする資格がある者はサーバントを従えたマスターのみ。君たち7人が最後の一人となった時、その戦い、聖杯戦争に参加するかの意思をここで決める。
I find it funny that he just sidesteps the fact that he claims to have caused the fire.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
The priest requests my final decision, but the way that he puts it, he makes it sound like an accident. So and he just kind of moves away from that. I was like, yeah, well, do you want to fight?
Shirou won't realize that, like, yeah, I killed your parents, but because I wanted to fight. Like there was this dude who looked really ugly and like, that's not for me.
I mean, Shirou doesn't even remember his real parents.
That's a fair point. And besides, what he's saying is, well, you see, what happened was I got the Grail, but all the other masters were terrible assholes and monsters. So really, I was the best option. The fact that it didn't turn out too good was kind of a side product of, just it being
It's just
incomplete.
ironic that he slowly tells, oh yeah, and they went because, come on, who can kill a servant? Yeah, and one of them probably, but hell, even a bunch of them went there and beat me nearly to death, and I ran to my parents, to my dad.
Wait, he
That's
said
the priest.
two. He
Yeah.
said two contradictory things.
Family meetings are weird.
Let's let that develop. Let's let that develop over time. Just keep in
No,
mind that
wait,
it's a
wait,
little
wait,
sounds a
wait,
little
wait.
weird.
Wait,
Yeah, a lot
said-
weird.
he said he won.
He's the
But
son of a
he lost?
goddamn priest.
He said he
Said he
won,
won?
but it was a disaster because he didn't fight people. He escaped from the war.
Oh, okay. I get it.
Similarly, he did say something strange when he said that. There you go. Because the other masters were all monsters, he lost his servant first and was taken under his father's protection. But nonetheless, he claims to have won the war.
Yeah,
That isn't impossible, because he said before that, even if you lose your servant, you can make a contract with another one after a while. He hasn't provided any details. So keep in mind all these inconsistencies. That is what Shirou thinks is true now. And he's being put against the wall to not think too hard about it. I'm at a loss for words. I had no reason to fight until just now. Now I have
Me
a
too,
reason
man,
to
me
fight
too.
and a will to fight. Can I really accept that?
まだ迷っているのか。いいか。マスターというものはなろうとしてなれるものではない。そこにいるリンは長く魔術師として修練してきたが、決定されていたものがあるとすれば、それは心構えができていたかいないかだけだろう。マスターに選ばれるのは魔術師だけだ。魔術師ならばとうに覚悟などできていよう。それがないというのならば仕方があるまい。お前もお前を育てたしも出来損ないだ。そんな魔術師に戦われても迷惑だからな。
Buddy, he was trying to bone his friend until yesterday.
I know.
Give him some time.
I mean, it's not. To be
You're
fair, it's
being-
not the kind of thing
He
that
was
needs.
being killed by his sister. God damn it!
It's not the kind of
By a
thing.
poster of the army with metal in it. Give him some time, man. He was simping for Rin until yesterday. But come on, not even yesterday.
He's still
yesterday.
I know.
Well, it is late in the morning now, so in the moment, so yeah, probably yesterday.
But it is true. It is true that he can't really wait too long. You can't just take a weekend off to choose whether you're going to participate or not, because every second you're out of the church, you're probably about to die. If you're not actively fighting, you're losing, right? You're just making yourself a target.
He's
Yeah,
not a
fair
very
enough.
religious man, but he spent a whole night in
Wait,
God's home.
just a question.
I know.
What happens if a bunch of mages just decide, wait, we'll make a pact between us right now, because we don't like the church, and we're going to beat their butts until.
You get Fate Apocrypha. That's
That's
that's what
wonderful.
happened.
Yeah.
You got it.
Make the Holy Grail war great again.
Ha! That's funny. You
Whoa.
know, that's a funny
No, that's
joke.
not.
That's a
That-
funny
that's
joke.
not.
Congratulations. He
That's
doesn't. He doesn't need to ask.
Which
That's
scenario needs to happen for them to start cooking in the other weird spin-off of Fate?
That's a great question. The
I
one.
mean, I think we have to turn off the game for that to happen.
So what do we do, guys? Do
Let's
we go
revoke
back
the command spell. There's no way we can win this
or do we
fight.
fight?
We're going to die. Let's revoke the command spell.
Again, Shirou has a reason to fight now. He-
Why not to fight? This is a fantasy
How-
story. Why not?
How
Okay.
will Shirou survive this? Let's revoke the command spell.
Saber
That's
is
the
shooting.
Okay, which one of them will lead us to a game over?
I will not say anything.
I don't know.
It is your fault.
Didn't you say?
If you
Didn't
choose
you
wrong.
say
I
that?
know.
Didn't she said that if you
I
lose
will
the command spell you die?
No, she said
No.
you will die if you lose the command spell. Not in the sense that you revoke it and then your life is over. You're making yourself vulnerable, is what she's saying. Because at the end of the day, you're still a
Okay,
magus.
so
that
wait a
people
minute.
know.
You
So the rest
no
of the
longer
game would
have.
be.
You know.
Wait a minute. So
you
the
know-
rest of the game will just be us chilling with the priests.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
you
with the
return to
cat and
church,
the organ.
We,
I mean-
We would go. We will go to the cat in the organ and we will just go. Hey man, can you just play Wonderwall on the piano if that's possible?
Can't play Wonderwall.
if anyone has an instrument, you just ask them to play. Hey man, can you play Wonderwall? That will be.
I
amazing.
mean, if you no longer have a command spell, then you can no longer control your servant, and therefore, they have no reason to protect you.
Exactly. That's why she says you will die. You won't immediately die, but you're making yourself a target. Again, remember that servants eat
I mean,
souls, and the soul of a
I
magus
think we
is
should
pretty potent.
fight. I mean, sabers. We still need to determine who is the greatest waifu of this story, and
It's
one of the
Rain.
greatest competitors in requires this fighting for existing. So
Revoke
Yeah.
the command spell. I say, we will die if we fight. It's obvious.
you want the cat to play Wonderwall.
we have Saber to protect us.
But we are controlling Shirou.
Yeah,
mean,
that's true. You have a good point.
That's a strong
But-
argument.
But
We could maybe-
just think about it.
We could
The-
maybe
the
put.
hero
What other
is
songs the cat
Saber.
could play?
And we are just like get rid of her now.
I mean, I don't know. Just said
If
revoke
we-
the command spell.
Who
Yeah.
knows?
I
So-
mean, it's not like it's really going to happen. It's just an option.
It's what
Something-
Shirou wants to do. The option in
So-
this game, the options in this
It's-
game don't necessarily
It's not
always
exactly
happen.
what it's going to happen.
So Boomer,
Ah, let's
you will
just go
decide what
fight.
will be.
Shiro's been already a stupid. Shiro's already going to be. Shiro's already going to do stupid things on his own. We shouldn't go just help him with that.
So are we going to fight or are we going to revoke the command spell?
I say
Fight.
fight.
Very well.
Okay, 2-on-1. Okay, was that the correct option?
I won't run
Option?
away. I will.
There is no
I will
correct
never
option.
say if something is right or wrong. Mapo Tofu can give you the spoilers if
come
he
on.
wants to, but honestly, this Holy Grail War and Master stuff doesn't seem real to me. But still, if there are only two choices, fighting or running away, I will never run away. That's some bullshit, man. The priest said it too.
He has
Hero
balls.
for you.
He doesn't have a dick, but we established that he has balls.
If I am a magus,
He fought
I should
Lamb.
be ready. I
He's
mean,
not Lancer, he has balls.
yeah,
Has big balls.
and he's got stakes here because he might be the only thing between, some guy and making the disaster from 10 years ago happen again, but worse.
I just love that one of the other masters that could be having this Holy Grail, that is Rin, is now, oh yeah, we will casually sidestep the fact that if Rin wins, we don't know what she would ask, but okay.
She doesn't care. She said in the prologue that she only wants to win.
But Shirou
Doesn't
also
care.
doesn't know that.
Whatever would be.
In fact, a fun story, Shirou does not know Rin was the one who saved him. She never said it. That is
And she
important.
never will.
Haven't him heard her voice?
Well, he heard her voice, but he was dead.
Fair
He-
enough.
back in Shirou of the Resurrection,
That's
he-
a solid argument.
No,
Yeah, he was dead,
no,
fair enough.
Apparently, people don't die if they're killed.
indeed. That is why I must decide. Even though I'm an amateur, Emiya Shirou is a magus. if I have decided to become a superhero in the footsteps of Emiya Kiritsugu, whom I've admired all this time,
マスターとして戦う。10年前の火事の原因が聖杯戦争だって言うんなら、俺はあんな出来事を2度も起こさせるわけにはいかん。
As if he likes my answer, the priest smiles with satisfaction. I take a deep breath. Concentrate on your breathing. I have cut away all the hesitation. As a man, I said I will fight. So from now on, all I have to do is go forward with pride so that I will not go against my word.
それでは君をセーバーのマスターと認めよう。この瞬間に今回の聖杯戦争は受理された。これよりマスターが残り一人になるまでこの町における魔術戦を許可する。
What a really big way to say, yeah, man, you can beat each other. Let's go.
The priest's voice echoes heavily through the church. There is no meaning to that declaration, as only Tosaka and I heard the priest's word. This man merely rang the starting bell as the priest of this church.
決まりね。
I'm just imagining the priest turning up for the cat and say, hey cats, play Megalovania. There's going to be a beatdown right now and that's going to be good.
Play Megalovania.
これが最後かもしれんのだ。大抵
それじゃ遠慮なく。キレ、あんた見届け役なんだから他のマスターの情報ぐらいは知ってるんでしょ。こっちは教会のルールに従ってあげたんだからそれぐらい教えなさい。
I love how Odin's first decision is to cheat.
Like a fox.
I don't know why, but I think a white-haired girl would be more suited to play the organ. Just a feeling.
今回は正規の魔術師が少ない。私が知り得るマスターは2人だけだ。
あ、そう。
This is an atypical war in many
呼び出
ways.
された順番ならわかるでしょ。
Only 10 years since the last one, as opposed to 60, and most masters are illegitimate.
仮にも監視役なんだから。
1番手はバーサーカー、2番手はキャスターだな。あとはそう大差はない。先日にアーチャー、そして数時間前にセイバーが呼び出された。
そう。それじゃあこれで。
正式に聖杯戦争が開始されたということ、リン。聖杯戦争が終わるまでこの教会に足を運ぶことは許されない。
自分のサーバントを失って保護を願う場合のみでしょ。それ以外にあんたを頼ったら減点ってことね。
Not even in Saturday, come on.
Which means she technically already broke the rules. She shouldn't be coming into the church as a master if not to declare defeat.
そうだ。おそらく君が勝者になる。
Shows how much of a good person she
減
actually
点につ
is.
いては教会が黙っていない。
Boring
練
discussion.
習はつまらない論議の末、君から聖杯を奪い取るだろう。
I mean,
私としては
So
最
that's
悪
how
の展
Fate
開
Apocrypha happens.
kind of. Not really, but kind of.
Rin wins and wins is just a big discussion of
教会の
unions.
人間が魔術協会の肩を持つのね。
Everyone in the church
How
hates
am I
it.
right? I want that war. No, you can't. That rules say that and that and that.
教会に仕えているわけではない。
Of course you are. Of course you are.
よく言うわ。だからエセなのよ。
Yeah, she's right.
The Pope is the one behind everything.
The Pope is the instrument here. Tosaka turns her back to the priest. After that, she just makes her way to the exit without saying goodbye.
おい、そんなんでいいのか、遠坂。あいつお前の兄弟子なんだろ。
Fuck him. Shouldn't there be a more proper farewell?
いいわよ、そんなの。
Wait,
むしろ縁
What
が切
did
れ
he
て
say?
先生するぐらいだもの。そんなことより、あなたも外に出なさい。もうこの教会に用はないから。
Business here.
He said, he asked if it was right for Tosaka to just leave insulting her fellow pupil.
oh,
Because it was just,
Yuku.
yeah. Yeah, she said Kotomine was her student, was her fellow student, and then her second teacher.
Yeah,
he
I
also
forgot
studied under Tokiomi, as was established before. Tosaka walks across the floor without stopping and really leaves. I sigh and follow her. And then,
Yep.
I feel a presence behind me and turn around. No, it wouldn't be the first time a priest snuck behind a young boy in a church.
Fair enough.
The priest who was behind me before I knew it is looking down on me.
Oh no.
まだなんかあるっていうのか。
I back off as I say so.
You have a pretty nice ass, boy.
Just as I thought, I don't like him. Maybe we're just incompatible or something, but I can't get myself to like him. I mean,
話がないなら
No is
帰るか
no, man.
I make my way to the door, trying to escape his stare. As I go,
喜べ少年。君の願いはようやく叶う。
the priest says, as if declaring an oracle. Those words aren't those the true feelings I haven't yet realized?
何をいきなり。
分かっていたはずだ。明確な悪がいなければ君の望みは叶わない。たとえそれが君にとって容認し得ぬものであろうと。
That's curious.
正義の味方には倒すべき悪が必要だ。
How does Kotomine know about Shiro's wish?
I mean, magic.
Oh,
Or his father.
I feel like
or-
everything has turned black. How would he know his father, though? That's the question. The priest said it. The greatest wish and the ugliest wish I have are the same. Yes, the desire to protect something is at the same time none other than the wish for something to violate it.
お前。
But there's no way I'd wish for something like that. I don't remember a moment when I've wished for that. Such an insecure wish just means the target ideals are inconsistent. The priest says as if to pierce my heart, good thing you have an enemy now.
何取り繕うことはない。君の葛藤は人間としてとても正しい。
This is a funny killing joke moment from DC. It's like Kotomine is the Joker and Shiro is Batman.
Yeah, I can see.
What?
Yeah, like the Joker always keeps reminding Shiro, Batman, about how there must be a villain for there to be heroes, right? Wanting to protect people is just wanting for people to be hurt. You can't protect people if people aren't hurt, right? I shake off the priest's
Yeah,
words and
but
walk to the door.
can't him just be a nice dude that's like, oh, I just want the world to be normal.
さらば
Okay, anyway.
最後の忠告になるが、帰り道には気をつけたまえ。これより君の世界は一変する。君は殺し、殺される側の人間になった。その身はすでにマスターなのだからな。
Or you need to make a union and make Fate's Apocrypha, one of the two.
Man,
You
I
should
was
watch.
thinking if someone like changing it to would you win the whole Grail, what would he wish?
What, Kotomine?
Finish the 3 routes, I guess.
Yep. Could be
Yeah,
it.
we will find that out soon. As soon as I leave, the pressure on my shoulders lifts.
We should watch Fate's Apocrypha together. It would be
No.
a fun experience.
I refuse. Certainly,
Let's watch Fate
you
Apocrypha
could say
together.
that getting away
Let
from
the
that
ice
priest
go,
helped.
let the ice go.
Wait, what did you say?
But Tosaka's standing out in her uniform. Yeah, go ahead.
I said we should watch Fate
Yeah.
Apocrypha one day.
I think it's a good
You
idea.
Yeah,
would be
probably.
greatly disappointed.
I heard it's a great
There's
anime, better than
there's
Fate's
I
the-
like Fate. I like Fate.
Wait a minute.
I like
There's the
Apocrypha is not good,
lovely Jack the Ripper in there. Jack the Ripper in there.
Dude, there's Vlad Tepes the third.
Yes, there is Vlad Tepish III. That is true. And the blonde-haired girl in the raincoat standing near her make a strangely well-matched sight that somehow takes the pressure off of me. Saber is silent, as always. She's looking at me, so it seems she's interested in the decision I made.
行きましょう。町に戻るまでは一緒でしょ、私たち。
Tosaka starts walking. Following after her, we leave the church as well. three of us descend to the hill together. We didn't talk much on the way here, but there is even less talk now. Even dull as I am, I know why. After what happened at the church, I truly became a master, and that must be the reason Tosaka is walking a little apart from us. I understand that. I understand, but I don't like thinking about Tosaka like that.
Tosaka, お前のサーバント大丈夫なのか?
Shirou and his intelligent questions.
ああちゃんなら無事よ。まあセイバーにやられたダメージは簡単に消えそうにないからしばらく実体化はさせられないだろうけど。
That was the equivalent of asking to another person, hey, how's the weather? The weather is fine, isn't it?
ええ、私の家でかくまってる状態。
I mean, it should be
今他の
snowing
サーバ
now.
ントに襲われたら不利だから傷が治るまでは有利な場所で敵に備えさせてるの。
I see. Unlike my house, I'll bet Tosaka's house is well prepared against attacks. A house lays like a fortress for a magus. They will not lose as long as they stay there. That must mean enemies will not attack you as long as you stay on your home ground. I see. The boundary feel like my house is merely an alarm against intruders, but even having that makes a big difference. I mean, it saves his life.
Isn't there a giant hole in Tosaka's roof? I mean, Archer.
When Archer
was...
was summoned.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
知らないはずよ。私教えてないもの。
そうなのか。お前とあいつ仲がいいからそうだと思ってたけど。
あのね、ミヤ君。忠告しておくけど、自分のサーバントの正体は誰にも教えちゃダメよ。
セイバーの正体って何さ？
だから、サーバントがどこの英雄かっていうことよ。いくら強いからって戦力を明かしてちゃいつか寝首をかかれるに決まってるでしょ。いいから。そうすれば私の言ってることがわかる。けどちょっとタンマ、エミヤ君はあれだからいっそ教えてもらわない方がいいわね。
なんでさ？
エミヤ君隠し事できないもの。なら知らない方が秘密にできるじゃない？
I mean, just imagine a world in which Shirou is captured and tortured by some other guy until he spills out Saber's name.
Or the person use some kind of magic to make like a true potion or something like it.
I mean, Shirou has no defenses. His magical energy is pitiful. He doesn't even have circuits, apparently. So, it's not like he would be able to defend himself from a mental attack.
あのな、人を何だと思ってるんだ。それぐらいの駆け引きはできるぞ、俺。
Plus, he's dumb as fuck.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
じゃあ私に隠していることとかある？
ね、遠坂に隠してることってそれは。
My erection for you, but that's really easy to
I was
hide.
about to say, my boner. As I say, my face fires up. I don't have a guilty conscience, but well, would kind of admiring her count as something I'm hiding from her?
ほら見なさい。
That's literally the answer.
あなたは他にいいところがあるんだから、駆け引きなんて考えるのはやめなさい。
Damn, she even compliments him. Would you look at that?
それじゃ遠坂はどうなんだよ。あの神父にも黙ってるってことは、あいつも信用してないってことか。
Would you trust Kotomine?
Nope.
綺麗？
Nope.
まさか。私、あいつを信用するほどおめでたくないわ。あいつはね、教会から魔術協会にくら替えしたくせに、まだ教会に在籍している食わせ者なのよ。
Tosaka says with annoyance. It seems she really doesn't trust that priest. I'm a bit relieved, but still, her words do seem to hold a bit of affection.
Who would? He's literally the son of a priest, for damn sake.
He's the son of a preacher man. And we pass the bridge. There's no conversation between us now.
Yay. But there's still a boner, probably.
Indeed, the cold
That's
winter
small,
air
but-
and our cold breath.
The bone of my sword.
The bone of my sword, yes. A faint sound of flowing water and the white street lamps that light up the bridge. Small things like that are engraved into my memory. Oddly, I didn't think about looking at Tosaka, who's walking next to me. Right now, it seems walking on a bridge at night together like this is more precious than seeing her face. Me, Tosaka, and the girl called Saber I know nothing about. We three walk together without doing much. It's one of those moments where you stop to think, holy shit, I almost died 2 hours ago.
Yeah, no, I died.
I actually did die, and then almost died again.
And I came back.
We reached the intersection. The intersection that leads to our houses, the place where we must part with Tosaka.
ここでお別れね。義理は果たしたし、これ以上一緒にいると何かと面倒でしょ。きっぱりは。
Yeah, they won't.
It must be to end the ambiguous position we are in right now. Tosaka starts talking and cuts off suddenly. From that, I realize she did not explain the rules to me out of any sense of obligation. She just supported me, understanding the situation I'm in, and acted fairly. So things are back to normal once the explanations are over.
Because he technically saved her.
Yeah, I'll just be... I mean, she didn't have to help him. She could have just left.
Yeah, but it
would be to her tactical advantage if he didn't know what was going on, because then he wouldn't be able to prepare.
He did save her from dying to Lancer, so yeah.
Doesn't he seem like the person who pays her debts?
Actually, she saved him from death.
She already did save him from death, exactly. There's no debt to be paid. She was just doing him a courtesy.
She is a good person. You see, she's the best girl.
Indeed.
The best girl is Sakura.
She does not need to say she's good to prove she's good.
Sakura, you have a list of better girls, and you pick Sakura, goddammit.
Okay, I can say that Rin is a god. Is such a good girl. But
are you sure? I remember seeing her in Frequent Order.
Okay.
But if so, what she just said was strange. Tosaka must have meant that it would be difficult to fight if she feels empathy for me. For Tosaka, everything that happened tonight must have been unnecessary. Again, it is. If Shirou didn't know anything about what was going on, it would have been a lot easier for him to lose. And if she didn't make any sort of emotional connection to him, she would have an easier time killing him. To a certain
degree, she would be dead if he didn't know nothing, because Saber would just kill her.
No, he would have stopped her anyways. She would have just ran off. He wasn't gonna let Saber kill her. He might as well have used the command spell against her, Saber, to stop her from killing her, which, again, would be even better for Tosaka.
I mean,
at the end of the day.
If she hasn't saved him that time, he wouldn't have a sword pointed at her.
I mean, at the end of the day, Tosaka did sacrifice the only thing her dad left for her to save this guy from dying. That, you know.
Again, because to a certain degree, she's only alive because he decided to go there and say, "Hey, how you doing? You're killing each other with lances and swords that are really cool."
Again, it would be to her advantage if he just stayed dead after the thing in the school, so.
Yeah, fair enough.
It would be troublesome if we stay together any longer. If she's going to say something like that, she should have left us alone from the beginning. Tosaka's smart, so she should know that all too well. But still, she set aside all thought of loss or gain and helped me out. So what happened tonight was totally out of good faith. The Tosaka in front of me is too different from how she is at school. Even when I put it nicely, she's sour, cranky, unapproachable, and she's so different that I want to scream out. Yes, she's an asshole. Man, it feels almost like a fraud. Yet still, Tosaka-rin is just how everyone thought she was.
Tosakaっていいやつなんだな。
は？何よ突然。おだてたって手は抜かないわよ。
I know that.
Damn, that's all it takes to flatter her.
She won't go easy on me, and that's why she said it'll be a bother if she feels empathy for me.
知ってる。けど、できれば敵同士にはなりたくない。俺、お前みたいなやつは好きだ。
Tosaka falls silent for some reason. I hear Tosaka's houses in the western-style district in the opposite direction to my place. Since she's taken care of me until now, I would like to walk her home, but...
とにかく、サーバントがやられたら迷わずさっきの教会に逃げ込みなさいよ。そうすれば、命だけは助かるんだから。
それは気が引けるけど、一応聞いておく。けど、 そんなことにはならないだろう。どう考えてもセイバーより俺の方が短命だ。
I calmly analyze the situation. Tosaka reacts strangely once again. After letting out a sigh, she glances at Saber.
いいわ。これ以上の忠告は本当に感情移入になっちゃうから言わない。せいぜい気をつけなさい。いくらセイバーが優れているからってマスターであるあなたがやられちゃったらそれまでなんだから。
She turns her back and starts walking. But, as if she's seen a ghost, her feet stop dead in their tracks.
遠坂
The instant I call out to her, my left hand throbs in pain.
ねえ、お話は終わり？
A young voice echoes through the night. The voice, like a song, is unmistakably that of a young girl.
Oh, so that's why the white girl said that he was going to die tonight.
My vision is drawn to the top of the hill. I don't know when the clouds parted, but a bright moon is now shining in the sky. There.
Olly.
A long shadow. There's a strange shape that shouldn't be here in this pale town of shadow pictures.
まさか。
Tosaka mumbles a word I'm not accustomed to hearing. I don't even need to ask. That thing is definitely a servant. And at the same time, an overwhelming sense of death exceeding even the one in the fire 10 years ago.
こんばんは、お兄ちゃん。こうして会うのは2度目だね。
The girl smiles as she says so. That innocence sends a chill down my spine. No, spine is an understatement. Not just my body, but my mind is frozen as well. That thing is a monster. I'm not staring at it, but just its presence makes me unable to move. I understand naturally that I will die in the instant I move even a muscle. It feels like a knife is pushed right against my naked chest. Still, I feel nothing. Probably because there's too little hope of me getting out of this alive. All fears and impatience are drowned by hopelessness, so I don't feel a thing.
やば、あいつ桁違いだ。
Unlike me, who's paralyzed, Tosaka has the composure to stand ready. But it'll come to nothing. Even though I can only see her back, I can sense the despair she's feeling, and she is not with Archer.
Yeah.
あれ？なんだ、あなたのサーバントはお休みなんだ。
So there's probably a lot of more
一緒に潰してあげようって思ったのに。
little favors.
The girl says
Say
unhappily
to Shirou, okay.
as she looks down at us from the top of the hill. We're in an even worse situation now. That girl knows Tosaka's servant is not here. And then... The girl bows unsuitably for the situation.
はじめまして、リン。私はイリアスフィール・フォン・アインツベルンって言えばわかるでしょ。アインツベルン。
Tosaka's body moves slightly as she seems to recognize the name. Perhaps she likes Tosaka's reaction as the girl smiles happily and...
じゃあ行くね。やっちゃえ、バーサーカー。
She orders the strange shape behind her as if she's singing.
That's probably a meme on the internet.
Yes, the larger body flies through the air. The thing called Berserker comes flying down the whole distance from the top of the hill.
シロ、下がって。
Saber runs. Her raincoat comes off and my vision is blocked for a second. Saber runs to Berserker's landing point and Berserker lands with a huge thud at exactly the same moment. The air trembles. Saber stops Berserker's greatsword with her invisible sword.
How air tremble?
Saber makes a pained face. There, Berserker's gigantic sword flashes like a whirlwind. A great thunderous roar. The crash of steel that almost tears the air results in defeat for Saber. Sliding sound. Even though she blocked Berserker's giant sword, she is driven back along with the sword she used to block it. Saber's posture collapses. The lead-colored servant chases after her. The gray figure swings its giant sword as if it's the only thing it knows how to do. Saber doesn't have the time to dodge it and blocks it with her sword. It does not matter if Saber's sword is invisible or not. Each of Berserker's attacks is a fatal one that must be blocked with all her might. Therefore, Saber has to stay on the defense. For her, the only chance of victory is to find a means of attack in between Berserker's attacks. But that's only if Berserker leaves an opening. The Black Rock sword is just like a storm. With such a large body, and with such a large sword, and yet Berserker is moving faster than Saber. The attacks he sends out are just smashing swings with no technique to them. But that's enough. If there's overwhelming power and speed, there is no room for technique. Techniques are something humans invented to compensate for their weaknesses. Weaknesses are things that Giant doesn't have. I murmur with my frozen body. That thing cannot be defeated. Saber will be killed if we go on like this. So she should run away. It would be easy for her to get away if it were just her here. She should know that already. That's bad. My body is numb, and maybe that's why my mind is so calm. The storm of death that strikes without a pause. Unable to take all the attacks, Saber retreats, and this time, the final blow that cannot be blocked is swung. Saber's body rises. She manages to defend against Berserker's giant sword, even in a bad posture. But that's only to avoid a fatal wound. She couldn't brace herself to totally block the giant sword, and the impact blows her away. She falls, her body drawing a big arc. Before she falls on her back, Saber turns in midair and lands on her feet. She manages to recover, but red blood is running down her chest. How stupid of me. I was forgetting something important. I don't know how much a servant can fight in one day, but this is already her third battle. And on top of that, Saber has the wound in her chest inflicted by Lancer. Saber moves as if to protect her chest. Berserker moves and slashes like a raging wind at the wounded Saber and receives many attacks on its back. I don't know what kind of magic it is, but Berserker's body explodes from Tosaka's spell. Judging from the magical energy given out, the magic directly hitting Berserker must be an impact close to that of a high-caliber pistol. But even that is meaningless. It doesn't even scratch Berserker's body. He isn't nullifying magic like Saber, it's just that the magic is not doing any damage. But Tosaka doesn't stop casting. But Berserker ignores Tosaka's spells and charges at Saber. Saber raises her head in pain. She holds her sword up to still fight. That gets my body to move again. I yell with all my might. Hearing that, she faces the enemy she cannot compare to. There is no end to Berserker's attacks. Saber's body sinks every time she blocks a blow, and she slowly approaches her final moment. But still...
Damn, Shirou, stupid.
Yep, but still, where in that small frame does she have all that power? Saber doesn't retreat. She blocks the surging waves with the giant sword and tries to drive back Berserker with her willpower. There is no chance of victory. The way she's holding her ground looks bizarre, as she should know she will be defeated if she keeps fighting. Maybe it sensed something in her posture. The figure, silent up to now, roars. A blow impossible to block. The blow that even swings through Saber blows her away. The sound of something falling in the distance. Fresh blood spills out, and that pool of blood with a body that should not be able to get back up. She stands up unconsciously.
You see?
We will be copyright struck by YouTube, but okay.
That's why I said to revoke the command spell.
She is saying, I would be killed if she didn't do so. That makes me realize how foolish my choice was.
No, right?
Berserker stops after defeating Saber. Without paying attention to Miyo Tosaka, it waits for its master's orders atop the hill.
勝てるわけないじゃない。私のバーサーカーはね、ギリシャ最大の英雄なんだから。
Hercules?
ギリシャ最大の英雄ってまさか。
Right, that he didn't exist. I have been garbage, nothing else.
そこにいるのはヘラクレスっていう魔物。
Okay, okay.
あなたたち程度が襲撃できる英雄とは格が違う。最強の怪物なんだから。
They don't need to be historical figures. They can be also just mythological heroes.
Because apparently there's no limit. Because apparently there's always be, oh yeah, mine's bigger. Oh yeah, my servant's bigger. No, my servant's bigger. It will be eternally.
Their historicity doesn't matter. The only thing that contributes to them becoming heroic spirits is their level of worship, as it were, or the popularity of their legend. It follows that the more strongly people believe in one of these heroes, the stronger they are in general. But that's besides the point, and we'll come to that when we come to that. The girl who called herself Ilia narrows her eyes cheerfully. Those are eyes of joy, about to finish off her enemies. I don't even need to say who the ones getting killed are. Saber will be killed right here. Then what am I going to do? Am I going to fight that monster in her place?
These my pants.
I can't do that. Just approaching that thing without being prepared would stop my heart. We have come to the difficult choices.
Run away with Tosaka.
Save Saber.
How can we save
Yeah, run
Saber?
away with Tosaka. Let's go. Let's run away.
So it's two for run away with Tosaka?
Yes.
Save. Holy shit.
What can Shirou possibly do?
I'll get away from this place. Saber can't beat that monster. She will certainly be killed if I let her continue fighting. If that's the case... I take Tosaka's hand and start running. If we are that girl's targets, she will definitely come after us. Then Saber will survive. And we have a chance of surviving too if we run away to a place with more people. The hand I grabbed is shaken off. And in a flash, Tosaka moves between me and the thing as if to protect my defenseless back and has her chest pierced through by the giant's sword.
I knew it.
I can feel my face stiffening as I turn around. I hear a pained voice. Tosaka coughs up blood and looks down at the sword in her chest. Does she mean trying to protect me or trying to attack Berserker? Tosaka tilts her head in wonder, as if she knew it was useless from the start, and... Leaving those words, she is thrown to the ground. My body reacts before I can think. The black giant standing before me, using the opportunity when he threw Tosaka away. I run desperately like an animal through rings of fire. I run. The only thing in my head is Tosaka's words. The church. I have to get up this hill and go to the church. Go to the church and ask for help from Kotomine. I have to do it, or Tosaka will die. Or Saber will die too. Or I won't be able to save them, and I too will... A blow in the back. Not with the sword. The giant struck my back with its arm like a bush hammer.
簡単に殺すなって言ったのに、そんなこともできないの？力だけの出来損ない。今度私の言いつけを守れなかったら、最後の一回になるまで殺すからね。息 てる。ここまで吹き飛ばされたのに、まだ生きて。
I can't breathe. My backbone is smashed. I can't breathe.
そう、生きてるんだ、お兄ちゃん。何の魔術も使えないようだけど、マスターに選ばれる理由はあったみたいね。いいわ、それぐらいじゃないと私も日本に来た意味がないもの。
I can't move. You can't call me alive anymore. I am... Congratulations, guys.
Yeah.
簡単にしなさいよ。あなたにはもっと傷ついてもらって、
Oh man, this
今までの
sucks.
時間がどれだけ恵まれていたのか教えてあげるんだから。
The
Damn,
silver-haired
that's,
girl holds my head.
I
Her
said
cold white
safe
fingers
saver.
freeze up my skull.
Live.
In that instant, when I am turned into something that is not me.
自分じゃ決して死ねない醜い人形にしてあげる。
Ah.
お兄ちゃんは今日からキリツグの代わりになるの。
What does that mean? I wish with my last thoughts for Tosaka and Saber to be safe.
The command spell.
Bad
Yes.
and
Yes.
Finally, we're
Okay.
going to the best part of the game!
Yes.
This is
My
Tiger
goodness.
Dojo. Take the advice. Yes.
My goal was accomplished.
こんにち
Tiger
は。
Dojo.
サクッと死んだあなたを一から鍛
Wait,
え
why
直す
did you
夢
do
の
that?
レスキューコーナー。
Okay.
タイガー道場師範藤村タイガー。
We are going to be made fun
Okay.
of now for being stupid.
Okay. Okay.
He could use one of his command spells to make Saber stronger or force her to do something. If you choose Save Saber, I think
I'm
he will do
terrified
that.
of that lolly. She's not from God. She's not from God.
弟子1号、この道場では貴様の名称は弟子1号。
いたた。この私を吹き飛ばすなんて用途を取らしない恐るべし。
Even my dog is crying at our stupidity. Toroshinai has been added to the weapons dictionary. You missed that,
Let's
Mapo
go.
Tofu.
Ooh.
Your completionist journey has been a lie.
別にしなかったけど、それよりタイガー、今回のテーマは何なの？
今回のテーマはバッドエンドについて。いきなりだけど、フェイトは油断イコール敗北と心得るように。基本的にみんな容赦ないので、選択肢になったらセーブするのは常道よ。シローの日常は赤信号だらけのスクランブルってなもんなんだから。
お兄ちゃんたら好きだらけだからね。やっぱり
Yes,
私が
protect
守ってあ
him.
げないとダメなんだから。
Protect him. Protect him. Okay.
師匠、そのしない本当に痛いでありま
I
せん。
love how Taiga just beats up a
もう
child.
しないにしてください。
Isn't that great?
Child.
で殺人に至るようなちびっこは道場3周。キリキリ走れい。
疲れるの反対。
トラスタンプが欲しくないのか。
わかったわ。
Tiger's charm.
さて、今回のシーンはあの最強ちびっこ相手に逃げようなんて思ったことよ。
Dangerous
あの子に会ったらもう倒すか倒されるかだけ。半端な選択は死を招くから気をつけなさい。
This should be something you keep in mind for the rest of the game.
タイガー。
Oh, please.
なんか道場の隅に猫がいるよ。
Oh, it's Kotomina's cat.
尻尾踏んで追い返しなさい。あと、
Wait, he has a cat.
I was thinking about it.
He
I
has
don't
a cat.
remember that.
He can make the cat play Megalovania. Let's
よろ
go.
しい。では今回はここまで。
I love how it's Saber's face over there, painted on the
There's-
dojo.
物語はまだ始まったばか
Over
り。
here.
この
It's
山
her
場を
hair.
乗り越えたらようやくマスターとしての戦いが始まるような始まらない。
どっちなのよ。
Oh, Zevlen, the Tiger is like you. She gives spoilers but doesn't give spoilers at the same time.
Indeed. I have learned from the
You're like
master.
The Tiger himself.
Congratulations, this was our first bad ending, and now I believe, yeah, you can go to the weapon menu, which we'll be able to see later, so I'll read this when it comes to it.
That's
That's
called
good.
a sword.
But this is the Tora Shinai.
There is
which
a character menu too.
Shinai were originally suggested by a prominent swordsman in Japan as a weapon to be used in matches in places of real swords and wooden swords, but leaving all such complicated stories aside, Tora Shinai is Fujine's favorite sword of choice. Roll back 5 years. Because the tiger strap on the Shinai was considered bad manners, she was not permitted to enter some official tournaments. The Kendo Club members complained that her name would have been known all over Japan were it not for this Shinai, but they were rather relieved she stayed unknown. A demonic sword that will not rest until it tastes blood, still sealed by the Fujimura family. This is real lore, guys. And I believe that,
There's probably.
oh no, this is also
there's
something that we'll see later, but over here you
There's
should be able
probably a
to see.
spin-off that works more than.
Oh, there you go, ending list. We got our first tiger stamp. It was not actually the first bad ending that we could have gotten, but
Wow.
The first bad ending was the Kotomin choices was.
yeah, it was the Katamina.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
it was helping Sakura
What?
I knew it.
first day.
What would he do?
I will not spoil it.
ダメだ逃げろセイバ
I yell with all my might. Hearing that, she faces the enemy she cannot compare to.
Okay, let's go fast forward a little bit.
Very well. I will.
We already did this rodeo.
Yep. Save Saber
Okay,
this time.
Run away with Tosa.
Save saber, save saber.
Run away with Tosaka again.
Whatever.
This time,
Wait, let's just make a pact. Every single time we can, we'll die. Okay?
I can't abandon someone who needs help. Emiyashiro has chosen to live like that. And most importantly, I can't leave the girl who fought to protect me.
いいわよバーサーカー。そいつ再生するから一撃で仕留めなさい。
Berserker resumes his action. I run with all my strength. There's no way I can do anything against that monster, so the least I can do is to push Saber away and save her from Berserker's attack. I fall. Why? I was going to push Saber away to get Saber away from Berserker and think about what to do after that, so why...
He's dead.
Why? Why am I on the ground unable to breathe?
Another way.
There is no right choice.
I hear shocked voices. First is from Saber, who is right in front of me. And Tosaka is astonished at a distance. And for some reason, Ilya, who is looking down at me dumbfounded, is also surprised. Shiro's stupidity is just astounding. I'm missing my stomach.
Oh,
I'm on the ground.
Yes, the stomach.
On the asphalt are a small amount of blood compared to the wound, soft-looking organs, bones, and many things like that.
Oh.
なんて
Oh, stupid.
In short, I didn't make it in time, and now his insides are his outsides. Yes, it was impossible to push Saber out of the way, so I just shielded her. And my stomach was blown out by that sword.
If you can call it that.
Jeez, I'm ashamed of myself for failing even in a situation like this. I've been working hard to become a superhero, but I keep making mistakes when it really counts.
We'll see Tiger again, won't we?
The silver-haired girl asks in a daze. After standing there dumbfounded for a while,
もういい。こんなのつまんない。
without finishing off Saber, she calls Berserker back.
リン、次に会ったら殺すから。
The girl leaves. After watching her leave, my vision cuts out. My consciousness fades away. I really can't recover this time. I was somehow saved when I was killed by Lancer, but that won't happen again. There's probably no magic that can save a person who has lost most of their stomach.
あんた何考えてるのよ。分かってるの？もう助けるなんてできないっていうのに。
I hear an angry voice. It's probably Tosaka. She seems really angry, and I'm sorry. But it can't be helped. It's not like I can do everything like Tosaka. All I could use was my body. So that's why. The only thing I could do was to use my body to shield Saber.
I thought he
Like a
could
genius.
use.
He could have used this command spell.
The command spell. Yeah.
There you go, that's the
Yeah.
opening, but it's going to break going to break the recording, so we already watched it anyways.
That's the opening? Wait, there's not a bad ending?
That is not a bad ending, no.
Oh,
February
so
the 3rd. Fate.
That was the right choice.
4.
Okay.
Partner.
For how long we'll keep up? Like, we still have, what, about an hour?
We still have like an hour to go. We'll keep going until either we finish today, or we hit an important event, or we run out of time.
Maybe we should. Let's make a pause for like 10 minutes and.
Yeah.
We'll keep going. Yeah, that should probably work.
It'll be good.
I'll pause.
Yeah.
And we have returned. For the sake of time.
Fortunately.
This is a story from winter 5 years ago. It's a different story from the usual fire 10 years ago. So, it was a night with a beautiful moon. I wasn't doing anything, just watching the moon with Kiritsugu. Even though it was winter, the weather wasn't cold. The corridor was only a little chilly, and it was a good night to enjoy the moon. Back then, Kiritsugu didn't leave the house much. Not going outside, he would just laze carelessly around the house. I regret it even now, thinking back to it. Why didn't I notice it? It was like the actions of an animal that knows the time of its death. Oh, this scene hurts for me, as someone who really likes Zero. Suddenly, that man, himself a superhero in my child's eyes, said that as if yearning for it. I became angry and asked him. Kiritsugu laughed apologetically and looked up at the sky. I agreed with that. I didn't know why, but I thought it couldn't be wrong because Kiritsugu said so. Kiritsugu answers. So of course my response was determined. I'll make it come true. Before I could even finish, my father laughed. He made a face like he didn't even need to hear the rest. After breathing in, Emiya Kiritsugu said, He quietly closed his eyes and his life ended. Since he looked so peaceful, I thought he would wake up again in the morning, so I didn't disturb him. Perhaps being used to seeing death factored in too. Without doing anything, I just looked up at the man who was my father as he entered a long sleep. There were no sounds of insects in the garden as it was still silent. In the bright night, I remember only my eyes being hot. I did not cry out, nor did I feel sad, but I could not stop my tears until the moon sunk.
Wait.
That is the story from a winter 5 years ago.
Did he just sleep and die?
Yeah. Perhaps I cried 10 years worth of tears since after that.
Okay.
There was nothing. Fujine's father planned the funeral and I started living in this house by myself. Nothing changed even though Kiritsugu was gone. Emiya Shiro would become a superhero like Emiya Kiritsugu, so there was no time to be playing around. That's right. I didn't mention it, but I remember perfectly. The figure of the man who saved me, who was left to the fire 10 years ago. He held up in his arms an unconscious child about to die from burns. He became so happy that tears welled up in his eyes and he took the child outside. From that time, he was the subject of my admiration. No one saved me. I couldn't save anyone. And at all, I was saved and a person was there to save me. That's why I decided to become like him. Become a superhero so that I could save people and let no one be killed, just like him. Kiritsugu died peacefully, leaving me his dream of becoming a superhero himself. It's only natural for a child to succeed their father. Emiya Shiro must become a superhero and save someone just like that old me. I swore so as a child.
and failed because I'm stupid as a teenager.
To fulfill the dream of the man I admire the most. But honestly, I don't get it. What the superhero thing is supposed to be, how to become one, how to make everyone happy like Kiritsugu always said. And I became this thing called a master, and things like the blonde-haired girl following me around is confusing my head, and really... When I open my eyes, I'm in a familiar room. As soon as I speak, I start to feel terribly sick. I taste blood in my mouth. Maybe it was filling my mouth, but I breathe in thick air. I'm not sure why I feel like this. I feel really sick to my stomach, so I want to go to the bathroom and wash my face. I stand up. I feel dizzy. I almost fall and support myself by putting a hand against the wall. The nausea increases when I move. No, this is more like pain than nausea. My body is heavy and it feels like my stomach is turning every time I move. Maybe someone would feel like this if someone poured burning lead into their stomach. I wipe the sweat off my forehead and wobble out of my room. I wash my face and wipe the sweat off my body. There are bandages wrapped around my stomach for some reason. I can't recall anything about them, so I leave them be for now. Even though my stomach feels terrible, my body wants energy. Putting my mind to it, I start to walk along the wall. I still feel dizzy and my body feels dull. I walk forward, letting out miserable sounds. Really, what did I do before going to bed? I don't remember any training that could have caused this pain. I reach the living room. Sakura and Fujine must be at school. There's no breakfast prepared in the living room, and there's none of Fujine's loudness. The quiet living room is like a typical Sunday.
Ohayo. 勝手に上がらせてもらってるわ、エミヤ君。
No, it's not. Tosakarina is sitting on a cushion. Her calmness makes me think I'm the guest in this house and not her. I don't know how to answer her, so first of all I sit down. And then I take a deep breath and ask.
お前どうして？
待った。その前に謝ってくれない？昨夜の一件についての謝罪を聞かないと落ち着けないわ。
I don't even have time to ask her why she's here. Tosaka is glaring at me like she's really mad. It seems she's really angry about last night, but what happened last night? I recall it now. That's right. Why am I so relaxed? I tried to save Saber and Berserker blew away my stomach. The nausea returns. I feel a chill remembering the feeling of having a hole in my body. Something in my stomach moves. It feels really sick. It feels really sick, but that's definite proof that I'm alive. Wait, that's weird. Shouldn't that have been instant death for me?
なんだって生きてるんだ。
思い出した？昨夜自分がどんなバカをしでかしたかって。なら少しは反省しなさい。
Tosaka lets out a humph and criticizes me. That's really annoying. My head, which was frozen by the fact that Tosaka is here, finally resumes activity again.
何言ってんだ。あの時はあれ以外することなんてなかっただろう。いや、そりゃ結果だけ見ればバカだったけど、本当だからあれは間違いなんかじゃない。
I protest, glaring at her. Protest. What? Why is she sighing?
マスターが死んだらサーバントは消えるって言ったでしょ。だって言うのにサーバントをかばうなんてどうかしてるわ。いい？あなたが死んでしまえばセイバーだって消えてしまう。セイバーを救いたかったのならもっと安全な場所からできる手段を考えなさい。まったく身を挺してサーバントを守るなんて行為は 無駄以外の何者でもないって分かってるの？
I mean, to be fair, it did end up saving them, so.
かばったわけじゃない。
I just love that every single time he's in that living room, someone is
あんな目
criticizing
に
him.
遭うなんて思
I
わ
know,
なかっ
right?
た。
It's always a woman.
This is the humiliation room. I did think I would be killed if I went near that monster, but that's a different matter.
そう勘違いしてるみたいね、花子。
As if she's read my mind, she sulks even more.
あのね、ミヤ君、きっちりと言っておくけど、教会まで連れて行ったのはあなたに勝たせるためじゃないわ。あれはね、何も知らないあなたが一人でも生き残れるようにって考えた結果なの。どうもそのあたりは分かってなかったみたいね。
俺が生き残れるように。
そうよ。負けることがそのまま死につながるって知れば、そう簡単に博打は打たなくなる。エミヤ君、こういう状況でも一人で夜出歩きそうだから、脅しをかけておけば家中の栗を拾うこともなし、うまくいけば最後までやり過ごせるかもって思ったの。
そうか。それは気づかなかった。
So that's why she's complaining to me about not realizing that and running at Berserker.
けど、どうして遠坂が怒るんだよ。俺がヘマをやらかしたのは遠坂には関係ないだろう。
関係あるわよ。この私を一晩も心配させたんだから。
Tosaka throws out a temper. But I see. I'm honestly happy she's worrying about me. Looking at the situation, it seems Tosaka was the one who treated my wound.
そうか。遠坂には世話になったんだな。ありがとう。
I bow my head to show my thanks and apologize.
分かればいいのよ。これに懲りたら次はもっと頭のいい行動してよね。
Tosaka looks away. Her gesture is snappy, but it seems she's in a good mood again.
じゃあこれで昨日のことはおしまいね。本題に入るけど、真面目な話と昨日の話、どっちにする？
Tosaka starts a conversation as if it's natural to do so. Her straightforwardness surprises me, but thinking about it, she's here because she has something to talk about. If she didn't have business with me, she would have gone home already. What is it that Tosaka, my enemy, wants to discuss in her enemy's territory? I'm interested in that, and I also want to know what happened last night. It's stupid not to ask,
Where's
so I...
Tiger?
Okay. This is another choice. This is one of those choices that determines relationship points and such.
I think we should ask about yesterday.
Ask about serious stuff.
But maybe we should ask about yesterday to understand how are we fucking alive.
Boomer boy,
Yeah, that's
what
true.
is your opinion?
That's a good one. Ask
Well, I suppose you're going out to do something or something.
ask about yesterday. I think it's the best one.
Yeah, whenever you're good, you tell me.
Yesterday, I guess.
Okay, we're going yesterday.
I'm not sure. That's the part. Wait a minute. Because that's the part where we actually get punished by picking the wrong answer.
I mean, really, to be blank, the last one is the only one that really isn't worth anything. I mean, even if you choose the one that might not be the most optimal, you're still getting extra information, you know.
What is the serious stuff?
The serious stuff is what Dean came here to talk about.
Então, so serious stuff.
Okay, so we got one for serious stuff.
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yep,
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
I think it's better.
Yesterday it is. Even if I'm going to listen to her, I have to know the situation I'm in first. I have to know where I am before I go somewhere else. That is the basic principle of a journey.
まずは昨日の話からのがいい。
そうね。 まずは状況を知るのが先。なんだ、まともに頭が働くじゃないあなた。
Tosaka smiles contently and describes what happened yesterday. It seems that Berserker left after I fell unconscious. She tells me that my body started to heal itself and that it looked fine after about 10 minutes. And she says she brought me here because since I didn't regain my consciousness even when my wound had healed, and that's where we are right now.
ここで重要なのは、あなたはあなた一人で生き切ったっていう事実よ。確かに私は手助けしたけど、あの傷を完治させたのはあなた自身の力だった。そこ勘違いしないでよね。
話を聞くとそうみたいだけど、なんだ、遠坂が直してくれたんじゃないのか。
まさか死にかけてる人間を蘇生させるなんて芸当はもう私にはできない。エミやシロウは自分でぶっ飛んだ中身をどうにかしたのよ。
What can I do now that she said that? My stomach is certainly healed, but I have my doubts about Tosaka's story. I can't use healing magic, let alone revival magic.
そうなると原因はサーバントね。あなたのサーバントはよっぽど強力なのか、それとも召喚の時に何か手違いが生じたのか。まあ両方だと思うけど、何らかのラインがつながったんでしょうね。
ラインって使い魔と魔術師を結ぶ因果線のこと？
あら、ちゃんと使い魔の知識はあるじゃない。なら話は早いわ。要するにエミヤ君とセーバーの関係は普通の主人と使い魔の関係じゃないってこと。見たところセーバーには自然治癒の力もあるみたいだから、それがあなたに流れてるんじゃないかな。普通は魔術師の能力が使い魔に付与されるんだけど、あなたの場合は使い魔の特殊能力が主人を助けてるってわけ。
簡単に言って川の水が下から上に流れているようなもんか。
うまい例えね。本来ならありえないだろうけど、セーバーの魔力ってのは川の流れを変えるほど膨大なんでしょ。そうでなければあの体格でバーサーカーとまともに打ち合うなんて考えられない。
本来ならありえない。じゃあ遠坂とアーチャーは普通の魔術師と使い魔の関係なのか。
そうよ。人の言うこと全然聞かないやつだけど、一応そういう関係。マスターとサーバントのつながりなんてガソリンとエンジンみたいなものだもの。こっちが魔力を提供して、
Can we just talk about the little burn that he did on Rin just now?
It isn't a
まあ
burn.
中には肉体面でも
Yeah, he just said that these two don't.
マスター
Anyway.
サーバントが死なない限り自分も死なないなんていうやつなんだけど。エミヤ君、人の話聞いてる？
I find it funny that this is where Grand Order got the precedent for demi-servants. This line is supposed to explain stuff like Ishtar and Muramasa. Yeah, here you go.
Oh. Okay.
ああ、聞いてる。じゃあ遠坂、俺の体って多少の傷はほっといても治るってことか。
あなたのサーバントの魔力を消費してね。理屈はわからないけど、原因がセイバーの実体化にあることは間違いないわ。あなたが自然治癒の呪いなんて習得しているはずはないから。
当たり前だ。そんな難しいこと親父から教えてもらったことないからな。
そうじゃなくて、そうだったら私が悩む必要はなかったっていうことよ。いいわ、あなたには関係のない話だから。
What is it? Tosaka's words are indirect and hard to follow.
まあいいわ。とにかく
Anyway,
あまり無茶はしないこと。
where's Saber?
Ah,
今
we'll
回
find
は
it
助か
out
った
soon.
からいいけど、次にあんな傷を負ったらまず助からないはずだから。多少の傷なら治るなんていう甘い考えは捨てた方がいいでしょうね。
分かってる。俺が勝手に怪我して、それでセイバーから何かをもらってるなんて。
バカね。そんな理由じゃないわよ。断言してもいいけど、あなたの傷を治すと減るのはセイバーの魔力だけじゃない。あなた それ絶対なんか使ってるわ。寿命とか性分とか預金残高とか、ともかく何かが減りまくってるに違いないんだから。
Tosaka gives a humph once again. I feel the same way, but...
遠坂、預金残高は関係ないのでは。
Oh, she really does care about your money, man.
His money.
関係あるわよ。魔術ってのは金食い虫なんだから。使ってればどんどんお金は減っていくものなの。そうでなければ許さないんだから。と。
Tosaka erupts with the fires of personal grudges. It's strange. The more I talk with her, the more I understand that this is the real Tosaka-rin and that the Tosaka at school is just a mask she puts on. No, it's something I realized already yesterday. She's making reference to the fact that her money is all, well, her magic is all stored in very expensive jewels that cost basically the entire money of her family. So to her, magic really does consume money.
まあ、お金の話は置いとくとして、次は真面目な話だけど、いいかしら、エミヤ君。
遠坂がここに残った本題ってやつだろ。いいよ、聞こ
う。じゃあ率直に聞くけど、エミヤ君、あなたこれからどうするつもり？
She asks directly the one question I don't want to be asked. No, that's not it. It's not that I don't want her to ask me, but I haven't made my mind up yet. I'm the one who wants to ask what do I do now?
正直わからない。聖杯を競い合うって言うけど、魔術師同士の戦いなんてしたことがない。第一、俺は
I want to try to avoid killing people, and most of all,
聖杯なんていう得体の知れないものに興味はないんだ。欲しくないもののために命を張るのはどうかと思う。
言うと思った。あなたね、そんなこと言ったらサーバントに殺されるわよ。
殺されるって、どうして？
サーバントの目的も聖杯だから。彼らは聖杯を手に入れるという条件だからこそマスターの召喚に応じているのよ。サーバントにとって最も重要なのは聖杯なの。彼らは聖杯を手に入れる可能性があるからマスターに従い、時にマスターのために命を落とす。だっていうのに聖杯なんていらないよなんて言ってみなさい。裏切り者と切り殺されても文句は言えないでしょ。
So Saber also has a wish.
なんだそれ、おかしいじゃないか。サーバントっていうのはマスターが呼び出したものなんだろう。なら
サーバントが無償で人間に従うなんて思ってたの？聖杯は手に入れた者の望みを叶える。それはマスターの守護者であるサーバントも例外じゃない。サーバントたちにもね、それぞれ何らかの欲望があるのよ。聖杯を手に入れるためにマスターがサーバントを呼び出すじゃない。聖杯が手に入るからサーバントはマスターの呼び出しに応じるのよ。
Servants have their own desires. And does that mean Saber has a wish she wants the Holy Grail to grant?
だからサーバントはマスターが命令しなくとも他のマスターを消しにかかる。聖杯を手に入れるのは一人だけ。自分のマスター以外に聖杯が渡るのは彼らだって承知できないのよ。マスターと違ってサーバントには霊樹を奪うなんてことはできない。彼らが他のマスターを無力化するには殺す以外に方法がない。だからね、たとえマスター本人に戦う意志がないとしても戦いは避けられないのよ。サーバントに襲われたマスターは自分のサーバントでこれを撃退する。それが聖杯戦争なんだって綺麗から嫌っていうほど聞かされたでしょ。
ああ、それは昨日の夜教えられたけど。
That means allowing your servant to try to kill other servants. I thought it would be over if I reached a compromise with other masters, but if the servants are ones summoned to obtain the Holy Grail, and if it is true that they will not give it up, then a battle between the servants is inevitable. Then, the girl that fought to protect me is also ready to kill or be killed to obtain the Holy Grail.
なんてことだ。英霊だかなんだか知らないけど、セイバーは人間だ。昨日だってあんなに血を流してた。
あ、その点は安心して。サーバントに生死はないから。 サーバントは絶命しても本来の場所に帰るだけだもの。英霊っていうのはもう死んでも死なない現象だからね。戦いに敗れて殺されるのは当事者であるマスターだけよ。
いや、だからそれは。
Even if it's still a temporary death, there's still the fact that something human-shaped has disappeared from this world.
何？人殺しだっていうの？魔術師のくせにまだそんな正義感振り回してるわけ？あな
The comment is only natural, as Omega's death is always right beside me. I understand it, and I'm already prepared for that. But still, I'm not strong enough to judge people's deaths as good or bad.
当然だろう。相手を殺すための戦いなんて俺は付き合わない。
へえ、それじゃあミスミス殺されるのを待つだけなんだ。で、勝ちを他のマスターに譲るのね。
そうじゃない。要は最後まで残っていればいいんだろ。自分から殺し合いをする気はないけど、身を守るための戦いなら容赦はしないさ。人を殺しに来る相手なら逆に殺されても文句は言えないだろ
う。受けに回るんだ。それじゃあ他のマスターが何をしようが傍観するのね。例えば昨日のあいつが暴れ回って町の人間を皆殺しにしても無視するってわけ？
Someone like yesterday. She must mean that inhuman monster. Superhuman strength that allows the destruction of a house or two with a single blow. Certainly, if that thing wished, this town could be in ruins in just one night. And on top of that, the problem is that the servants are normally in spirit form. Humans can see those in spirit form. But since the servants can't affect the real world of spirits, you could call them the most powerful weapon. Remember, guys, someone died right next to Shirou's house, cut with a sword. With the technology we have now, there are no weapons that can affect a spiritual being. Our attacks are useless against them, and their attacks can damage us.
Can someone explain me how do the magic institution makes cover-ups for this kind of thing?
They have a lot of money and time.
It's the church, though, I'm doing this kind of stuff.
Well, also, both the association and the church have their methods.
Yes, there's a whole street that was just blown away.
Well, they can justify it with anything. They can say
what?
An oven blew up.
Gas leaks.
Gas leaks.
Yeah.
An accident. Maybe the water pump system under the street blew up randomly because of a pressure change. Anything can be used to explain this sort of thing if you have enough power and money and time, which they're magi. They have plenty of all of those. Especially in a place that's as important as Fuyuki. Murder by a servant is like a natural death for normal people. Death caused by an invisible killer will just be treated as an accidental death or suicide.
なんだよそれ。
Damn gas leak.
サーバント。いや、マスターとサーバントは他のマスターしか襲わないんじゃないのか。町の人たちは無関係だろう。
ええ、そうだったらどんなに平和なことか。けどそれなら見届け役の綺麗なんていらないでしょ。一つ言い忘れていたけど、サーバントっていうのは霊なの。彼らはもう完成したものだから今以上の成長はない。けど燃料である魔力は別よ。蓄えた魔力が多ければ多いほどサーバントは生前の特殊能力を自由に行使できるわ。そのあたりは私たち魔術師と一緒なんだけど、あなたこの意味わかる？
わかる。魔術を連発できるってことだろ。
You could say magical energy is the gunpowder to fill a gun, and the magus is the gun itself. The type of gun depends on the magus's abilities: pistol, rifle, machine gun, shotgun. Using that metaphor, servants are cannons. Using a large amount of gunpowder, they fire a large bullet.
そうよ。けどサーバントたちは私たちみたいに自然からマナを提供されてるわけじゃない。それを補充するのが私たちマスターで、サーバントは自分の魔力プラス主であるマスターの魔力分しか生前の力を発揮できないの。けど それだとあなたみたいに半人前のマスターじゃ優れたマスターにはかなわないってこと。その抜け道っていうか、当たり前って言えば当たり前の方法なんだけれど、サーバントは他から魔力を補充できる。サーバントは霊体だから同じものを食べてしまえば栄養は取れるってこと。
Nourished by eating things like them.
同じものって霊体のことか。けど何の霊を食べるって言うんだよ。
簡単でしょ。自然霊は自然そのものから力を汲み取る。なら人間霊であるサーバントは一体何から力を汲み取ると思う？
It is a simple answer. As we humans eat meat, the human spirits.
ごめんと。まあ魔力の補充なんて聖杯に補助されたマスターからの提供だけで大抵は事足りる。けど一人より大勢の方が大量摂取できるのは当然でしょ。はっきり言ってしまえばね、実力のないマスターはサーバントに人を食わせるのよ。サーバントは人間の原感情や魂を魔力に変換する。自分のサーバントを強くしたいのならそれが一番効率がいい。
生贄にするって、それじゃ手段を選ばない奴がマスターならサーバントを強くするために人。
そうね。けど頭のいいやつならそんな無駄なことはしないんじゃないかな。いい？サーバントがいくら強力でも魔力の器そのものには限界がある。能力値以上の貯蔵はできないんだから殺して回るにしても限度があるわ。それにあからさまに殺人を犯せば教会が黙ってないし、何よりそのシーンからサーバントの能力と正体が他のマスターたちにバレかねない。聖杯戦争は自分の正体を隠していた方が圧倒的に有利だから、普通のマスターならサーバントを出し惜しみするはずよ。
I see. Certainly, if nobody knows that you're a master, there's no danger of other masters attacking you. Conversely, if you know who the other masters are, you could definitely pull a surprise attack on them. By that theory, there won't be many masters that would have their servants attack humans and reveal their identity.
Well, then by now everyone and their mothers must be realizing Shirou is a master.
True.
でしょうね。仮にも英雄だもの。自分から人を殺して回るやつはそもそも英雄だなんて呼ばれないだろうけど、もう断言はできないか。暴虐者だからこそ英雄になった例なんていくらでもあるんだし。
Tosaka makes an ominous comment. As it seems to be her true feelings rather than just sarcasm, a bit of strain in her personality might be showing.
話を戻しましょうか。で、どうするの？人殺しはしないっていうエミヤ君は他のマスターが何をしようが傍観するんでしたっけ？
I take back what I said. She really has a bad personality. She's a real bully, putting me on the spot and asking me that with a smile.
そうなったら止めるだろ。サーバントさえ倒せばマスターだっておとなしくなるんだろ。
呆れた。自分からマスターは倒さないけど他のマスターが悪事を働いたら倒すって言うんだ。エミヤ君、自分が矛盾してるって分かってる？
ああ、都合がいいのは分かってるけど、それ以外の方針は考えつかない。
問題点が一つあるけど言っていいかしら？
She's plotting something. With that face, she's definitely plotting something. But as a man, I have to listen.
いいけど、なんだよ。
昨日のマスター覚えてる？エミヤ君と私を簡単に殺せとか言ってた子だけど。
How can I forget? They attacked us mercilessly.
あの子、必ず私たちを殺しに来る。それはエミヤ君にも分かってると思うけど。
I see. That girl is a master too. Since she knows Tosaka and I are masters, she will come up and attack us someday. I don't know if it'll be today or tomorrow, but I do know it's a death sentence. At least I know I can't stop such a monster.
あの子のサーバントバーサーカーは桁違いよ。マスターとして未熟なあなたにあれは撃退できない。自分からは何もしないで身を守るって言うけど、あなたは身を守ることさえできないわ。
悪かったな。けどそういう遠坂だってあいつには勝てないんじゃないのか。
正面からじゃ勝てないでしょうね。白兵戦ならあれは最強のサーバントよ。きっと歴代のサーバントの中でもあれと並ぶやつはいないと思う。
それは俺だって同じだ。今度襲われたらきっと次はないと思う。
Why she didn't kill them then?
Unconsciously, I placed my hand on my stomach. The wound on my stomach is healed now. No, you couldn't call it a wound. It was pretty much instant death. My nausea returns just at the thought of taking another blow like that.
そういうこと。分かった。何もしないままで聖杯戦争の終わりを待つなんて選択肢はないってことが。
それは分かった。けど遠坂、お前さっきから何を言いたいんだよ。死刑宣告された俺を見るのが楽しいってわけでもないだろ。ってもしかして楽しいのか。
そこまで悪趣味じゃない。もうここまで言ってるのにわからない？要するに私と手を組まないかって言ってるの。
Do you want to be my boyfriend?
And that's how everything happens. That was not said by his mouth. That was said by something.
That was said by an engine, a motorcycle engine.
Something deep, not big but deep.
If I take that at face value, that's.
手を組むって俺と遠坂が？
そう。私のアーチャーは致命傷を受けて目下治療中。完全に回復するまで時間がかかるけど、それでも半人前ぐらいの活躍はできるはずよ。で、そっちはサーバントが申し分ないけど、マスターが足引っ張ってやっぱり半人前。ほら、合わせればちょうどいいわ。
I love the fact that they are talking about heavy stuff with this beautiful music in the background.
It's
My servant almost died.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are, Shirou. You are that bad.
He is absolutely that
私が
bad.
知る限りでもう3回も死にそうになったのに。1日で3回も殺されかける人間なんて初めて見たけど。
He almost died 2 times
She's
and he
giving up
died
herself right
1
now.
time.
She's giving up herself.
Well, she must have seen him die because she was in school when he died. He doesn't need to know that she was.
Weak arguments, but okay.
No, she's Archer's master. Archer was fighting Lancer. Lancer killed him, so she must have gone after him to find out what's going on.
It's just that the only way he doesn't realize that it was she that healed him yet is.
It's because he's dumb. But on the other hand, that's
the only thing that's keeping him aware.
On the other hand, he did survive last night without having Tosaka's help.
So he's lucky.
That's true.
No, he's not lucky. But there is something going on there.
It's not luck, it's skill.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It's not luck, it's plot. That certainly is not plot armor, but we'll get to it when we get to it. That certainly is an attractive proposal. As I don't know anything, Tosaka would be a reliable teacher.
Attractive in multiple ways.
Indeed. And if I can help it, I don't want to fight against Tosaka. Not because she's the girl I admired at school. It's definitely because of that, Shirou. In fact, if I didn't know her
weird
like this,
admiration.
I would have felt this much resistance. I wouldn't have felt this much resistance. The Tosaka-rin in front of me is so different from how people describe her as an honor student. But talking to her, she's just Tosaka, and it seems she's just as she appears. Well, in other words, I'm saying I find her so much more attractive this way that I'm wondering why I even have to tell her myself this.
エミヤ君、答え聞かせてほしいんだけど。
I have a boner.
She urges my response.
Let's cooperate.
Is this even a choice?
I don't think it's
Why
a good
they
idea.
Why they make this a choice? Let's just go.
Maybe some people hate Tosaka.
It means that he has to.
You know, if it was Shirou playing this game, he would have looked at that choice and would have thought real hard. Like, I don't know. Maybe if we don't think, if we don't keep up with Tosaka, everything is gonna be.
Wait a minute. It's not a big. It wouldn't be a big fuck, but it would be a hard fuck for certain.
Indeed. She might as well just kill him right in the spot.
Blown up my sword.
There's no choice from the start.
I'm just imagining how that other choice would go, and just imagining Rin just, okay, when I will kill you then, and then they just use magic and kill you, and then you go see Tiger again.
I find it funny that even Shirou acknowledges that there isn't a choice. There are too many things I don't know, and I'm unskilled as a magus. Even if it's temporary, if Tosaka is going to give me a hand, I don't think there's any better option.
That's the thing. He realizes that to a certain degree, she has him at gunpoint.
Indeed.
Because she's a magus, she can spell anyway.
Oh yeah, she can certainly.
Hey, if she can, okay, beam and you're dead, and you're dead, then yeah.
And she's the best help he can get. So.
That's true.
Pretty much.
決まりね。それじゃあ握手しましょう。とりあえずバーサーカーを倒すのでは味方同士ってことで。
I mean, besides Kire, the greatest help in the world.
He already had an erection. He will now have a boner for the rest of the day.
Indeed. I held hands with Tosaka.
I touched her hand.
I shake her hand. I'm a bit perplexed. The instant I feel Tosaka's soft hand, I realize she is a girl. In comparison, my hand covered in scratches from messing around with stuff is ill-suited. The instant I think so, I pull back embarrassed.
何どうしたの？やっぱり私と協力するのは嫌？
いや、そんなんじゃない。遠坂と協力し合えるのは助かる。今のはそんなんじゃないから気にするな。
Shirou Emiya is defeatable. After making a puzzled face, she gets it, man. She makes a malicious expression.
なんだよ。つまんないこと言ったら契約破棄するからな。するぞ。
And Venue die?
あなた、
She'll pull a Glock with a line bullet and shake. Okay, bye.
なんだ、顔が広いように見えて白っては奥手なんだ。
違う、そんなんじゃなくて、ただ。
I'm just embarrassed because it was Tosaka, but I can never say such a thing, and certainly I have never touched a girl so strongly before. Well, Fujine is an exception. She's more like someone from a different planet than from a different sex.
No, she is from a different sex. She's tiger sex.
Indeed. Wasn't there something weird in what she just said?
Her vagina has a bunch of teeth in the middle of it. She's
今は追求しないであげましょう。変につっついて意地を張られても困るし。
sulky.
じゃあまずは手付金。これあげるから協力なかしと思って。
Tosaka puts a book on the table. It looks just like a diary. There's no title and it's wine red. The color seems to suit Tosaka.
私の父さんの持ち物だけど、もういらないからあげる。一人前のマスターには必要ないものだけど、あなたには必要だと思う。
You scrub.
Yes, certainly, it's that book. Tosaka's eyes tell me to take a look. Oh, this is where we do it. Okay. I open it to a random page. Then, there's nothing written in the book, but a strange image pops into my head.
遠坂、なんだよ。
各サーバントの能力表よ。聖杯戦争には決められたルールがあるのはもう分かってるでしょ。それはサーバントにも当てはまるの。まず呼び出される英霊は7人だけ。その7人も聖杯があらかじめ作っておいたクラスになることで召喚が可能となる。英霊そのものを引っ張ってくるより、その英霊に近い役割を作っておいて、そこに本体を呼び出すっていうやり方ね。口寄せとか降霊術は呼び出した霊を術者の中に入れて、 何らかの助言をさせるでしょ。それと同じ。時代の違う霊を呼び出すにはあらかじめ箱を用意しておいた方がいいのよ。
クラス。ああ、それでセイバーはセイバーなのか。
Shirou he finds himself so intelligent at this moment.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
He's a smart
That's
boy.
why
He's a
Saber-
smart boy.
Like, holy shit! It makes sense.
そういう
Big
こと。
brain moment.
英霊たちは正体を隠すものだって言ったで
I
しょ。
told you.
だから本名は絶対口にしない。
I told you, you
自
dumbass.
然、彼らを表す名称は呼び出されたクラス名になる。で、その用意されたクラスはセイバー、ランサー、アーチャー、ライダー、キャスター、アサシン、バーサーカーの7つ。聖杯戦争のたびに1つや2つはクラスの変更はあるみたいだけど、今回は基本的なラインナップね。通説によると最も優れたサーバー
Well
はセ
then,
イバ
can
ー
someone
だった。
explain why Berserk is just so OP right there?
これらのクラス
was
は
just
そ
OP
れ
right
ぞれ
there?
特徴があるんだけど、サーバント自体の能力は呼び出された英霊の格によって変わるから注意して。
英霊の核。あ、つまり生前どれくらい強かったかってことか。
それもあるけど、彼らの能力を支えるのは知名度よ。生前何をしたか、どんな武器を持っていたかってのは不変のものだけど、彼らの基本能力はその時代でどのくらい有名なのかで変わってくるわ。英霊は神様みたいなものだから、人間に崇められるほど強さが増すの。存在が濃くなるとでも言うのかしらね。信仰を失った神霊が精霊に落ちるのと一緒で、人々に忘れ去られた英雄にはそう大きな力はない。もっとも忘れられていようが知られていなかろうが、元が強力な英雄だったらある程度の能力は維持できると思うけど。
じゃあ多くの人が知っている英雄で、かつその武勇伝も並外れていたら。
間違いなく A ランクのサーバントでしょうね。そういった意味でもバーサーカーは最強かもしれない。
Indeed, everyone knows Hercules.
何しろ
And Hercules was a fucking badass.
最も
So.
有名な英雄だもの。寝台の英雄たちはそれだけで特殊な宝具を持っているっていうのに、英雄自体が強いんじゃ手の打ちようがない。
What would be a saber from the Greek times?
A saber like Perseus, maybe. Though Perseus was not exactly known for his sword.
Theseus?
Yeah, maybe. Is there any Greek hero that was known for their sword specifically?
I mean, specifically, probably not.
I don't suppose so, but
Lancer would probably have a lot of people too. I mean,
yeah. Or Rider.
Achilles. Oh, probably Archer would be Apollo.
Indeed. Though Apollo is a god, and gods are weird
And
in the favors.
Hercules isn't a
Archer
semigod?
doesn't have anything resemble like the sun or something like it.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Hercules doesn't count as semigod?
No, he's a demigod.
demigod?
That's true. But demigods and gods are different ranks of spirit in the Nasuverse. Gods are divine beasts. They can't be heroic spirits
now
because
we have
heroic spirits
that.
need to be human. So.
Oh boy. Oh then, okay.
Saber can be Joanna Dark.
Yeah.
I mean,
そのサーバントが生前使っていたシンボル、英雄と魔剣聖剣の類はセットでしょ。要するに彼らの武装のことよ。
Joan of Arc could be Saber, yes. Technically. She does fit.
or she could copy Saber.
Indeed.
That's true.
In fact,
Enough.
the one thing that they kind of address here later on, and remember, Tosaka isn't exactly an expert on the Grail War. The information that we're getting might be more of what she thinks is going on than what is actually going on. But certain noble phantasms aren't exactly the weapon. Like, you could have a saber that wasn't the owner of a famous sword, but instead their myth was kind of crystallized into a sword. kind of
Oh,
like Jean
so
of
now
Arc.
find a famous figure who is a so duels with swords that didn't use swords, but okay.
For example, if you were to get like a Roman emperor, you could probably, it would make sense if like their greatness was summed up in a really pretty gladius or something, even if they were
Alexander the Great, maybe?
Yeah, something like that. Though the fact that Alexander's horse was pretty famous might make him more of a
Yeah,
writer.
it's still pushing it. Again, every general used to be famous by having a horse too, so I don't know.
That's true. It's
It
all...
would be funny how Napoleon would be summoned. Imagine him carrying a gun here and there.
Napoleon
yes.
would probably be a rider.
No,
Probably be a
a big
rider.
cannon here and there, sorry.
Or an archer.
Maybe.
Apollo? Yeah. I think he would be a archer, to say the truth.
Let us go on.
Kratos would be berserker.
Anyway.
Berserker doesn't need to
Nah,
have a special
あ
kind of
れがどん
anything,
な
so...
曰くを持っているか知らないけど、セイバーのあれは間違いなく宝具でしょう。
Ah, but is it?
言うまでもないと思うけど、英雄ってのは人名だけじゃ伝説には残れない。彼らにはそれぞれトレードマークとなった武器がある。
Yeah.
それが奇跡を願う人々の思いの結晶。ノーブルファンタズムとされる最上級の武装なわけ。
This is the kind of thing that I was talking about. Like, for example, Brutus killed Julius Caesar. His dagger wasn't like mythical. It wasn't special. It wasn't crafted by a god. Nor did it really have a name. He might have be summoned as an assassin, and his noble phantasm would probably be his dagger. So
Weak argument, but okay, I guess.
yeah, it's just the way it is. Again, it isn't like the spirits are made for the Grail. The Grail makes spirits into classes. So the logic can be a little spotty.
That's why Jesus' noble phantasm would be his cross.
英霊だけでは強力な魔術、神器には太刀打ちできないわ。けれど、そこに宝具が絡んでくると話は別よ。宝具を操る英霊は数段格上の精霊さえ打ち滅ぼす。何しろ伝説上に現れる聖剣、魔剣はほとんど魔法の域に近いんだもの。最強の幻想種である竜を殺す剣だの、万里をかける靴だの、果ては神殺しの魔剣まで。ともかくこれで無敵じゃないはずがないっていうぐらい英霊たちが持つ武装は桁が違う。サーバントの戦いはこの宝具のぶつかり合いにあると言っても過言じゃないわ。
This also makes it so that servants that have legends with where they wield many legendary weapons allow them to fit into several different classes. If you were to look at, I don't know, someone like King Arthur, maybe he had Excalibur. He also had a dagger that was named, I think it was Carwenin, and he had
Excalibur, the bigger one, so
a spear called
But okay.
Rogaminiad. So he could be a saber, he could be a lancer, he could be an assassin, either.
It would probably...
英霊であるサーバントは必ず一つその宝具を持ってるってことだな。
So that would make it such that, you know, Napoleon could be summoned either as a rider or as an archer or as something else. A berserker,
An
maybe.
archer with a big cannon would be pretty funny, but okay. And
At least
just
it's
a
a
question.
ranged
On that
weapon.
note, can we...
原作
Isn't
と
this
して
going on for a little bit
天の
long?
英霊が持てるのは
We'll
一つの
finish it when the
宝具だと
exposition is
され
over.
るわ。
Don't worry.
Okay.
大抵は剣とか槍ね。ほら、中国に破産剣ってあるじゃない？一振りしかできないけど、その一振りで山をも立つっていう魔術品。それと似たようなものだと思う。もっとも、宝具はその神明を呪文にして発動する奇跡だから、そうおいそれと使えるものじゃないんだけど。
武器の名前を口にするだけで発動するんだろ？
あのね、武器の名前を言えばそのサーバントがどこの英雄か分かっちゃうじゃない。英雄と魔剣はセットなんだから、武器の名前が分かれば持ち主の名前もおのずと知れてしまう。そうなったら長所も短所も丸分かりでしょ。
なるほど。あ、そりゃ確かに。
Saber did work out Lancer's identity after he used his noble phantasm. Something like being Ireland's child of light. So if I summarize this, Servants are separated into classes, each of them a heroic spirit suited to their class. These heroic spirits hide their identity, and their weapons are their greatest trump card, but they cannot readily use them since they revealed their identity.
以上でサーバントについての講義は終わり。詳しいことはその方を見ればわかるから、一息ついたら目を閉じなさい。
that's our TED Talk.
慣れてくれば、その方が
And
な
we'll
くて
give a
も
look
直
into
感
the
でサー
status
バントを
page
判断
just
できるよう
to
にな
do
るか
that.
ら。
And then we'll get that over with, and that'll be the session. Saying that, Tosaka stands up.
さて、それじゃあ私は戻るけど。
まあ、お疲れ様。
I look up at Tosaka, who's about to leave.
協力関係になったからって間違わないでね。私とあなたはいずれ戦う関係にある。最後の日になって他のマスターたちが倒れているにしろ、全員健在であるにしろ、これだけは変わらない。だから私を人間と見ない方が楽よ、エミヤ君。
Clearly stating our position, Tosaka goes home. Alright, and then we'll look at the status page, and that'll be that. Let me save. Status. So let's look at weapon first, because we have this. Berserker's sword that we still haven't found the name of. A sword of rock that Berserker uses. It is part of the foundations of a temple Einstein prepared, and this itself was the catalyst used to summon Berserker. Heracles was skilled in archery, but since he has gone berserk, he has lost his former weapons and skills. Now we can look at everyone. We know the faces of Saber, Lancer, Archer, and Berserker. Kahalin, actually. So let's go into... We'll get into it. So Saber, this is important. Their skills are going to justify...
How he has such an OP... How the Lancer has such an OP ability with being... while also being a nobody?
He's not a nobody. His heroic spirit is worshipped in Ireland, and he was very, very strong during his life. Even if he was not an unknown, like a nobody, it's like Tosaka was saying. He was already very strong when he lived. So at least some of that power has to transfer over. So class abilities are kind of important, abilities and skills. She has magic resistance A, so no magi today are able to hurt Saber, meaning that she is only really vulnerable to magic from the very ancient times when magic was very close to sorcery. And writing isn't going to come into play, but we don't know anything about Saber yet, so we can't tell what's going on with her.
I think that... Okay, synced. That's good.
The ability to always feel the best course for oneself during combat. And then we have Mana Burst, which is an ability she can use to kind of create a little explosion surrounding herself, and to also propel herself at fast speeds. Saber is associated with the element of the wind, so she does some wind stuff sometimes. And about her Noble Phantasm, we only know her Invisible Sword now. An Invisible Sword, it does not allow the enemy to determine its range. It is simple, but tremendously effective in hand-to-hand combat. It is a Noble Phantasm protected by strong magic, but it does not mean that the sword itself is invisible. The blade is clad in wind that changes the refraction of light and makes the shape of the sword invisible. It is a C-rank Noble Phantasm called Invisible Air. It is not a vacuum, but the wind whirring around the blade is like a weapon, and it seems to increase the damage of the slash. Only when the compressed wind is released is a vacuum state created. When the target has resistance to visual impediments, the accuracy correction of invisible air is ineffective. Other than the advantage of making the blade invisible, it is possible to release the compressed wind, making it a single-use projectile weapon. The damage of such an attack is constant, and Saber's strength of magical energy does not affect it. So when there was that explosion when she was summoned, that was the Mana Burst.
Can we see Archer again?
Yes, we are going to go through all the servants. That was a mistake. These are Archer's stats. We don't know his true name. We do know. He has magic resistance D, which isn't very strong, but he does have independent action B. Independent action is a skill of both the archer and lancer classes, I believe, which allows them to stay in the world for longer stretches of time than the average servant would should their master die, or stop being their master for whatever reason. So Archer would be able to stay a couple of days in the world after losing Rin if it came to that. We don't know anything about him, so no details. We don't know his skills nor his noble phantasm, but we can go look at the Lancer, Cahalin. We know his name because we know Gaybolga. These are his stats. He has an A agility, which is why he was faster than Saber. And the class abilities that we know of, we don't know all of them yet, but we do know he has magic resistance C.
His only bad attribute is his luck.
Yep. He's very unlucky, as he was in his life. Here we go. Cahalin, the great hero of Ireland, a half-god, half-human hero born of the light god Luch and Dertra, the sister of King Connor of Ulster, who appears in the legends of Ulster. His childhood name was Setanta, and it was prophesied from a young age that this child will live as a hero. Cahalin means hound of Cullen. The name comes from an oath Setanta made when he was a child, when he mistakenly killed a guard dog of a wealthy merchant named Cullen. He promised, if this dog has a child, I will raise it as strong as faithful as this guard dog. Until that time, I shall guard you myself. His nickname of Cahalin praises not only Setanta's strength for killing the famous savage dog of Cullen unarmed, but also the character of Setanta that thought of the owner of the lost dog even as a child. Cahalin grew up to be a strong man and went into an evil land called the Country of Shadows to satisfy the requirements to marry a particular woman. Cahalin overcame many difficulties and reached the Country of Shadows. He was well liked by the ruler of that country, the witch Skaha, and he trained under her and learned many sorceries and techniques. He obtained the cursed lance Gaybolga and later became the symbol of Cahalin, and he left the Country of Shadows. My mouse just died for no reason. In that legend, it is said that Cahalin was brave, compassionate, and a likable young man. He mercilessly killed his enemies in the battlefield, but he respected faith and was noble enough to never break a promise once made. Celtic warriors had the custom of making an oath called a geas, and those warriors who broke this geas were cursed. Cahalin, like his nickname, had a geas that said he must never eat a dog, and he faithfully tried not to break that promise. This geas later became the cause of his death. During a battle with an opposing country to protect his weaker country of Ulster, Cahalin makes several geasa, accepting his own ruin in exchange for forcing the opposing country to make geasa unfavorable to them. Some of the famous geasa Cahalin made were fighting just one warrior a day, promised to his rival Queen Meave, and one win, one lost, promised with his old friend Fergus. Cahalin's brilliant war record can be summarized into the battle against the neighboring country of Connacht. The war between the two started when Connacht's Queen Meave irrationally invaded to steal Ulster's Golden Bull Dawn, just to beat her husband in a bull comparison contest. Cahalin supported the weaker Ulster army against the Connacht forces, an allied army of 3 countries, for a length of 7 years, and finally succeeded in making them retreat. At that time, Cahalin captured the main culprit of the war, Maeve, but he released her, saying that he could not kill a woman, and a reconciliation was reached between Ulster and Connacht. Kind of like Shirou. But Queen Maeve perceived her release as the greatest insult and began a personal revenge against Cahalin. After numerous schemes, Cahalin was forced to break his geasa one by one, and as a result lost all his powers and was stabbed in his side with a lance. The proud Cahalin would not allow himself to die lying down and tied himself up to a post. On the verge of death, he saw an otter drinking the blood that had spilled into the river, and he died as its greediness, and he laughed as its greediness. He died standing. A thrilling great man, Cahalin had the protection of the goddess Morrigan, who governed death and destruction. But the story isn't that simple. At first, Cahalin declined the goddess's protection. So insulted Morrigan transformed into many animals and went after his life. But Cahalin was able to repel off every attack and actually treated the wounded Morrigan. Morrigan admired that nobility from the bottom of her heart and decided to support him without his knowledge. so as not to destroy Cuchulain's pride, she did not only help when he was in his greatest perils, but merely observed the way of a hero. His skill, this is an important one that is going to come up later, and explains a certain scene from UBW that doesn't get explained in the anime. Battle continuation A does not give up easily. It allows for battle even on the verge of death, and allows the user to stay alive until they receive a clearly fatal blow.
Oh.
And this is Geibulga, a cursed lance that will always pierce the opponent's heart once it is thrust, a surely fatal strike from the cursed lance Geibulga. Its true nature is the reversal of cause and effect, where the cause of the lance's thrust comes from the effect of the lance piercing the opponent's heart. As the lance has pierced the heart even before it is thrust, it is impossible to dodge or block it once this result has been determined. To dodge
unless your name's Saber.
Yes, to dodge Geibulga, one does not need a high agility, but instead needs the ability to change this fate before Geibulga is executed. Luck is most important. It is the most efficient noble phantasm, as it requires little magical energy to activate, and each activation is a sure kill. We don't know anything about Rider, Caster, or Assassin, but we do know a Berserker, whose master is Iliasville. True name is Heracles, and has extremely broken stats, as you can all see. It's all A's, except for an A+ and a B. His class ability is Madness. All parameters are increased, but sanity is lost, as every Berserker has the same Madness stat at different levels. His skills include, but are not limited to, Battle Continuation A, the ability to stay alive, Mind's Eye, avoidance of danger by sixth sense, Bravery A+, ability to ignore any mental interference such as coercion, confusion, or illusions, also increases damage when fighting unarmed, and Divinity A, strength of one's godlike nature. The more godlike blood possessed, the higher the stat becomes. He is the son of Zeus, and therefore, ascended into godhood after he was dead. So he has Divinity A. His noble phantasm, we do not know its name, but what we do know is that it is immortality gained from the blessing or the curse of the gods. The body becomes strong armor, nullifies any attack rank B or below, and there are still things we need to find out about it. And just to read it, let's go. Heracles, the greatest hero in Greek mythology. He was a half-god, half-human hero born from Zeus, the king of gods, and a human woman. Although Heracles had a superior talent in all things, there were big problems with his personality. As a child, he beat his harp teacher to death over a small matter, and after that he had to live as a shepherd to clean his temper. Thus he became a splendid man, and after he had accomplished several great deeds, the king of Thebes gave him his daughter Megara, and he earned 2 children and the right to succeed the king. Heracles was young and strong, and already no human was a match for him. The future seemed bright for him as he married the king's daughter and had 2 children, but Zeus's wife Hera detested the child born of Zeus and a human, and meddled with his fate at every opportunity. First, Hera sent madness to Hercules and drove him insane, making him kill Megara and his 2 children. Heracles, troubled by the sins he had committed, received the sign that he should atone for his sin by becoming the slave of Eurystheus, the man who took away his promised position as a king. Eurystheus was jealous of the strong hero Heracles and gave him many difficult tasks that claimed that he would keep him as a slave until he completed them. These were many difficult labors that were impossible to complete with normal human skills. They were the famous 12 labors of Heracles. The number of labors chosen by the gods was 10, but since Eurystheus did not accept the fulfillment of 2 of those, he added 2 more. But Heracles safely completed even those tasks and was not only freed from slavery, but also received an immortal body as proof of his great accomplishments. The greatest hero in Greece, this was the beginning of the great hero Heracles, who single-handedly achieved great deeds equaling those of the Trojan War and the Argo expedition. But the rest of Heracles' life was again full of madness. Heras' hatred was endless, and Heracles, who should have been immortal, was killed by poison by one of his wives. The great hero, equally matched with the sun god even as a human, was in the end slowly killed by the persistent jealousy of a goddess. At the point of his death, Heracles burned his body still contaminated with poison and entrusted himself to Zeus's judgment. It is said that the gods in a conference approved of Heracles' great deeds and prepared a seat in Olympus after his death and worshipped him as a god. Heracles went insane many times in the myth, but he was really an excellent warrior who could handle any weapon. He has the attributes to become any of the 7 classes except caster, and the greatest noble phantasm in his possession is a bow and arrow he obtained in the 12 labors called Shooting 100 Beasts, 9 Lives. And that is what we know of the servants yet. Shirou is in a very difficult situation here. I'm sure everyone can appreciate that. And next time around, we are going to maybe talk to Sabru a little bit and try to find her perspective on everything. Are there questions?
And well, know where the heck she is.
Yeah, that's true. Do you guys have any extra questions?
Well,
Nope.
Nothing that will be answered easily.
Very well. So we'll meet again soon. We'll figure out when that's going to be, and we'll keep this going. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.